folks. Welcome to episode number 399 of the Cleveland Moto Podcast. Good out. Tonight, to my left.
Sleepy, no after.
Exactly. See the empty chair?
Yep, in honor.
We're in our missing man formation.
We've retired the PZOE.
Oh, it's going to take a while.
We're figuring it out, though.
We're figuring it out.
We're going to have high-tech Oscar soon.
Yeah, well. And then to his immediate left.
Dan KROMKE.
And to his immediate left.
Chris Smith, no Emmy.
No Emmy. And then to his immediate left.
Tom Pennington.
And in the spectator seats, Becky's over there. So Becky's hanging out. She was nice enough. Becky and Tom brought us all of the Mexican food. Trays and trays of Mexican.
Yeah, there might be a shortage now.
Oh, so good. I've had 2 overstuffed street tacos, and I'm gonna say there was gonna be at least 2 more in my future.
I had 2 walking tacos and 1 dropping taco.
They stop, drop, and rolling taco.
Yeah,
that's when you're on fuego.
Yeah.
So very cool. Tom's been helping out for the past couple of days at the shop, and it has been fucking great. I've had a very busy past 7 days, more than most people. But I will say that the past couple of days, having Tom at the shop has been fucking wonderful, because it's like somebody threw a switch. And the best thing I can say is, if you can imagine walking into maybe a factory that used to build like AC Cobras or something, and they locked the factory up in '68, and all the people got sent home, and a couple of years later, some rich assholes bought it and were like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna fire this all back up again. Well, this was it. It was like we turned the heat on, we turned the lights on, we turned the air compressor on, and it blew up. The tire machine blew up. It's like, no, I was resting.
Did anything go like?
Oh yeah, there was that noise happened a lot, right?
Yeah.
And then we got to start playing the "Where is the game?"
Yep. Nope.
Where is the game?
Digging. I would make a list on the whiteboard of things that I was looking for or things that I needed them to buy, and I made a list of about 7 things. And during my archaeological dig in the back, I would find them and cross them back off. And then I would add more. I was like, all right, now I need this and this and this. Then I would cross them off again. It's literally an archaeological dig of about 30 years of Phil's life back there.
Yeah, 22 plus years, right? And what it was very funny though was, hey, I need an air impact. And I was like, well, we've got an electric impact that works way better, and it doesn't run the compressor, and it's called the motherfucker, and we've had it for years. And the item, it's from Harbor Freight, and it's designed to basically turn your knuckles into Swiss cheese. And I'm tearing the place down because I know that in our history as a company, we've paid for at least 3 of them. Mm-hmm. So, but I can't find it. And I mean, we've
dug through everything.
The TSA has not looked as hard at people's buttholes as we looked for that particular knuckle fucker. And we couldn't find it at all, but we did find a 3/8" drive Mac air impact.
Oh, sure. Tell people that we found this. Somebody's going to come looking for it.
So
that's where I've left it.
Right. And we're going to make an assumption that, like, okay, I understand now. Sometimes a tool leaves in somebody's toolbox, and then the god of mechanics makes something else fall out of their toolbox.
It's like the little take a penny, leave a penny thing at the 7-Eleven.
It is exactly what it is. So it's like, okay, well, I guess if we're not going to do that, then I guess we'll have to do this. Yeah. Right. And then, but I did realize there was the DeWalt impact was back there too.
Yeah.
That's
now I've just got to find the charger.
Oh, well. I think we've got a Ryobi impact up here too. But anyway, it has just been very funny. But it's all joking aside, it's been epic having Tom here. And of course, but because Tom's here, that puts me into we have to go to Porco.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to go to Porco. And then there's podcast. And so we end up having an event every night. My event, it's going to the Misfits 500th episode, was a big fucking deal. But I didn't get... Well, I had to get back a little early because Tom was showing up. My flight was supposed to be around at midnight, landed at 2 a.m. or 1:30 a.m. I was already in a state of not so great spirits at that point. Got here to the shop. Okay. Came in, got the keys for the Mitsubishi Pajero Jr. I love those cars. Went outside, fired it up, went back out of the parking lot. It was running a little awkward. Maybe running on 2 instead of 4. And so I thought, well, those other 2 cylinders will wake up once they get a little fire going past them. And so got down to the next corner.
It's called foreshadowing.
I know. I got down to the next corner, and I'm like, yep, still on 2. Come around the corner, and I'm like, oh, well, you know what we need? We need RPMs. Yeah. We need all the RPMs.
Need Guido to fucking come
over. Yeah, let's get that Italian tune-up, baby. So I throw the thing up. Yeah, just let that tack just hunt around 7,000, right? 1,000 cc motor. This will be great. So I run her in second gear up to about 50 miles an hour. I'm like, she's going to come around here any moment now. And it didn't seem to come around. Ooh. And got down to the entrance at McKinley to where the freeway is. And just getting ready to stop at that last light. Dude pulls up. He goes, hey, man, your car's on fire. And I thought, well, we just fluid filmed it.
Yeah.
So it is probably smoking.
Oh, this is the silver one?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So it's probably distilling sheep as we're operating, right? It's the first time it's really had a good run. It drove all the way from the house to here, no problems.
Right.
You saw it at the house. Didn't seem to have any problems at all.
It was very clean.
So, okay. So as I stop, I realized this cloud of smoke had caught up to me, but it didn't smell like sheep.
Oh, no.
It smelled like car. And so I immediately, okay, shut the key off, get out of the car, look under the car, and my car's on fire. And not like a little part of the car was on fire. Important parts of the car were on fire.
Oh, boy.
Well, it turns out the entire left fender liner on the backside was on fire. And it's also the same piece of plastic that is the gas tank. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, right?
That's good thinking
That's
on their
not
part.
great. That's not super cool. No. So I was like, all right. So because this isn't a new car to me, I don't have all the normal fill water shit in the back of it like I would normally, like a 1-gallon jug of water, 7 or 8 beers, right? All the things that can be used as a fire extinguisher. Right. Instead, I had my bag with me that I came back from Santa Cruz in which I had a pair of leather gloves that were donated by the Giving Closet at Liza's podcast. The you need some gear, take some gear thing. And Liza basically took me into that closet, 3 minutes in heaven style, and she's like, try these on. She was not going to let me leave unless I took something. And I tried on these beautiful heated Harley Davidson gloves that didn't fit me. I was feeling like OJ in there, right? Trying on everything. But I wasn't acquitted.
Let's go back to 3 minutes
of
in heaven.
Shit. So I put on these gloves real quick. I'm wearing a leather jacket, Dionysi leather, for all intents and purposes, snobby ass motorcycle riding jacket. I'm lying on the ground, reaching up into the wheel well, beating the fire out with my hands. Okay? Beating the fire out like a son of a bitch. And then I get that part matted out. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, this is where the explosion's going to be.
Yeah, right. And did you, at this point, can you tell what might have led to this material being lit?
Absolutely no problem, because I don't need a flashlight, because there is red light emanating from the catalytic converter to the tailpipe.
Oh, gotcha.
The exhaust warning light is on.
Do you know what's funny, Tom, is just before this all happened, my check cat light came on. Yeah. My check light cat came on, which I'm convinced now is just a clear tube that goes all the way to the catalytic converter.
It's just relaying.
And it fills up with fire.
Fiber optic? Fiber optic.
It's just a tube, Dan, and fire fills it up.
Yep.
So, okay. So then my dumbass, the fire's out here. Okay, the fire's out in the wheel well, feeling pretty good about myself. But there's still fire under the back of the car. And now, like a Jeep, Jeeps have a sideways muffler.
Yeah.
And this thing's got a catalytic converter. It's got a resonator thing. Mm-hmm. It's got a pipe that goes over the rear axle, next to that fender liner thing we were talking about, against the gas tank, and then goes into that muffler business. Right?
Wow, that's brilliant.
That's where that pipe goes.
Yeah.
Well, because, it's not supposed to be red.
Typically they're rusty or brown.
Rust. I was going to say brown or rust is the preferred color, right? But not bright red.
No.
Yeah. Not Krakatoa.
This is how you know it's bad.
That's it. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm like, oh boy. So I go lay under there and I put my head under there. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the light modification I've had done to my left eyeball.
I thought you were just getting some like rejuvenation done. Like it's like a chemical peel.
No, that's not a chemical peel. That is where my friend flaming fluid film fell into my eye.
Oh, nice.
So it was dripping.
You were doing a Jay Leno.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, my God, I think I'm on fire. So I put... That hit my eye, and I was like, that's not good.
No.
I had taken my glasses off for some reason.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So, because I wanted to see better.
Can you imagine, though, if you had them on? Like, there'd be fire coming down on your eye sitting there. Then,
but it would have stopped
I know, but
it.
still, that would have been terrifying, too.
Okay, so that's a problem. So now I'm like, oh, shit, I think I might be blind in my left eye.
Oh, boy.
Having fire go into your left eye is really a bad thing.
Yeah, not good.
So
right eye, on the other hand,
I then... Depends on which eye you use to whack off.
Right.
Okay, so I usually squint real hard with the right.
Nah.
Now, I reached up with the glove and again found more fire with the glove and put it out.
Right.
Okay, good. Deep breath. Okay. Look around for police. 2:30 in the morning. Okay. Because the last thing I want to do is have fire departments involved and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
And
anyway.
paperwork
Don't need that, right? So, side of the road. And now I'm reassessing my situation. Like, what are my assets and liabilities? Okay, fair. So basically, let things cool down. Check my eye out. Yeah, I burned my eyelid pretty bad, but the eyeball's okay. It's mostly water. So we're good. I've got to say, count my blessings. Pull the gloves off, which are hilarious at this point. They look like you've used them to roof a house.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the only thing you use to roof the house? Like you tarred an entire house with your hands.
Plastic all over.
Because they are just Joe Rockets that I can now tell you are really good gloves.
Oh, yeah.
They're amazing at putting out fires.
International firefighter rated.
Yeah.
So great job, well done. And I'm like, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn it back on.
Oh.
I'm going to go back to the shop. Much more slowly.
Yeah. No 7,000.
No,
Luigi's.
No. So I leave the hood open a little bit, let a little more air go through.
Yeah.
And I drive real slow. And I get to little 5 points up here. And I pull over. Because the car stopped running and it was making the bad smells again. So I looked underneath. Well, I didn't have to look underneath.
Right.
Again, I had ground effects I didn't pay for.
Right.
The whole car's like, like I thought at that moment we're at the point where it's just like boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion, levy. I thought the whole car was just going to go boom. So I was like, well, here we go. Brilliant moment. Disconnect the squirter tube from the underside of the hood. Aim the squirter tube at the catalytic converter from the top.
Oh, your windshield squirter?
Turn the key off, right, obviously. Go in and take the seatbelt and wrap the seatbelt around the windshield washer arm so it's pulled back, so it's going to squirt. And then turn the key, run out, grab the little hose, and put it out. Use it like a little baby fire extinguisher, like a little Fisher-Price fire extinguisher. And so...
It is the Junior.
It is the Junior, exactly. So as soon as I turn the key on, it does its thing. And I go up there and I got my little tiny world's smallest firefighting unit. And I'm just squirting fluid at the catalytic converter, which I can see the leading edge of because it's a very small car.
Yeah.
And I just feed water in until it's empty. And the steam was spectacular.
Sure.
But little 5 points is only about 6 blocks that way. I can do this. I start the car. I'm basically going sideways onto Lorraine Avenue. We're not taking any... Time now is our enemy.
Yes.
Not RPMs. Haul ass across here. Pull sideways 2:30 in the morning in front of a cop into my parking lot.
Yeah.
Pull in akimbo because I don't want to be too close to the building or other things I like.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I leave it in the middle so we can get a lot of fire equipment around it if we have to. And then I run into the shop, go into the workshop, grab my world's stretchiest garden hose. You like that hose. That hose is a good hose. Get the world's stretchiest garden hose, get it out, charge it, and immediately dive under the car. And it is like fucking Yellowstone, the amount of steam. Oh. And I was feeding the water onto the cat, because cat, we all know that's where the heat lives.
Right.
But it was the hump in the back that was really where the heat was living. Because when I moved back to that part of the car, she released all the steam. Wow. And it took a lot to get things chilled out. So I got things chilled out and like, okay, almost, 2:45 now, good. I guess I'm taking the Nissan Rasheen home. Oh. Take the Nissan Rasheen home, historical plate on the back. At 3 a.m., I got pulled over by a state trooper on the freeway. Come on. I was going 66, pulls me over, and he's just like, do you know why I'm pulling you over? And I went, I'm going to tell you all why. Yes. Yes.
All the things.
Yes, I do. It's technically Tuesday at 3 a.m. when 50% of the cars on the road are drunk, but that means 50% aren't. I was going 66, so I was 3 under the speed limit because I'm not taking any more chances tonight. Yeah. I just had a horse shot out from under me, and I'm just not taking any chances. Right. And he's like, well, and I said, and the historical plate thing. And he goes, well, you're not supposed to be. And I said, I know all the rules. I can quote them to you. But the fact is I'm leaving Cleveland Moto. And I can write a receipt for an invoice just as quick as you can write a ticket. And I will go to court. And I'll be standing there with an invoice for services rendered on this vehicle that proves I was taking it to or from getting service. And I promise you, I will show up in court. It's wintertime. Sales are slow. And he was like, I said, but you're going to get 4 hours overtime. So it's good for both of us. We're helping each other here, buddy. Right. And he goes, oh, all right. And I said, but I just put a car fire out with my fucking hands, man. Yeah. And I've been awake since Santa Cruz. Right. And he's like, yeah, just give me a second. I'm going to go check your paperwork and stuff. And I was like, and I said, yeah. He goes, can you give me your insurance card? And I said, don't you even start with that shit. I said, I just told you, I'm a corporation. Yeah. We don't have insurance cards. We have a policy for the entire goddamn operation. Right. I said, and if you don't mind me reaching for my phone, I'll pull my little insurance statement up that says it insures me and my empire and whatever my empire happens to touch. Mm-hmm. And he goes, all right. I said, do you want to see it or not? Take me on faith or just want to see it. Right. But you do understand when you ran the plate on this thing, it came back to Cleveland Moto Incorporated. He goes, well, that's the other thing. Is it inventory or is it a personal vehicle? I said, well, go to the website right now. You'll see it's inventory. Right. But if I put it in my name, I can put historical plates on it because it is a historical vehicle. And he goes, well, I don't think you should be able to do that. Oh.
Is that right?
So he disappears. He goes back to the back of the car, which is like, I'm going to go talk to my manager thing. So he goes back and he comes back and he goes, all right. I said, I'm sorry. I just, you have to excuse me.
What are you, Columbo?
I said, I just have to know on my driving record, when was my last citation? He goes, well, we only go back 25 years. And I said, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's great. Yeah, that's cool. And meanwhile...
So the warrant has fallen off.
16 fucking DUIs have gone by, right? 16 DUIs. And the Rasheen doesn't look like a shitbox. The Rasheen is
it's nice
perfectly clean. There's not a speck of rust anywhere on it. It just looks like a Jeep Cherokee that somebody sat on. Right. So there's nothing like you need to pull me over about it, right, except for the license plate is the wrong color. It's a historical license plate. And so by the time I got home...
4 a.m.
I know. And Merritt's waking up. That's when she wakes up. And I was like, I just dove into the shower for reasons, And I dove in the shower and she goes, my God, 4 o'clock, like, what happened? I said, you don't. You don't even. You're not ready for this woman. You're not ready. I said, just go earn the money. Just go earn money. and tomorrow we'll talk about it. It's fine. It'll be great. So I've had a bit of a week, one could say. A bit of a week. So that's cool. 500th episode of the Misfits was fucking cool.
Yeah, what'd you guys do? I
Okay,
saw pictures.
Liza had rented a theater.
I saw
Circa
that.
1971, beautiful, cool theater right downtown Santa Cruz by the river.
Big logo on the screen. It looked
Big
like.
logo, gorgeous, big ass screen. Theater seating, very steep theater seating, very, very dramatic. Probably could seat 400, maybe more. Big, it's big. And then she had a whole line of chairs up. What do they call that when they have that Hall H thing, the dais or whatever they say you're up, sitting up on the thing. Anyway, yeah. So she called the group up based on who's been there longest. So like her and Megan had started the thing, and it was great because then we got to hear the stories from all the people and how they got to find the Misfits. And you know, Bagel found the Misfits because of us. Yeah, I mean, Tom and I have been friends since the 90s and going to scooter rallies on the East Coast. And you know Tom Donahue. Yeah. And we know Tom Donahue as Heinkle Tom.
Right.
The Bagel thing was all...
Bagels ages ago, yeah.
Yeah, that all happened after he left the East Coast. So to us, he's just Heinkle Tom and always will be because he always show up on Heinkle, right? Or, you know, P200 that he rode all the way from the East Coast. But here's what's hilarious. So he gets up on stage. He's like, "Well, I found this podcast because I was listening to ClevelandMoto Podcast, and they said to go. They said about your podcast." I was like, "Oh, okay." And it was great because they did give us a shout out for being like, it was, you know, because we had started a podcast, but we had taken a little time out. You know, we'd taken some time off, and it was her doing the podcast that re-energized me to getting our podcast back fired up again. So it is an interesting thing that we wouldn't be back here today without them having produced something that was based on what we had produced. Well, there you fucking go.
Lives touching lives.
It really is. Yeah, it was. So it was great to see all those people. And what was really fun was the audience was full of people that had at some point been guests.
Oh, cool.
On the podcast. So that was cool. That was really fun and neat.
I saw you guys did some riding.
Some people did some riding,
okay.
Not this guy.
Oh.
So, you know, I had made a decision when I got there. I was absolutely into the idea of eating well, drinking ferociously, seeing the wildlife, and I did. And the sea lions and the otters and all that fun shit.
The otter story was...
The otter story's fucking great. So I've never seen an otter. Like, I mean, I've seen otters in zoos. In the Monterey Aquarium, they have a little otter habitat where they swim out of the wild because they chum the water and the otters are like free meal. So they just come in and there's always nonstop otter action right there in front of you. But we were standing on the wharf and Johnny Otter just rolls up and he's just looking up at us like, "French fries go here." Right? And you know that some bitch just had a handout or two off the pier,
just
right?
a couple.
Yeah. And so none of us were throwing food at him. In the middle of the wharf, the pier that they're on is just resplendent with sea lions, if you've ever been there.
Oh, yeah.
So all the sea lions hang out underneath and fart and burp and shit and mate and do all that stuff while 6 feet above the water on pilings. Right? It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not a bad life if you can get it. But I'd never seen a frolicking otter there. And apparently people who live there have never seen an otter frolicking there as well.
Because they're all in zoos where they get free food.
That's bingo, right? So this otter fella, he's like, "Well, you're not putting out." So he dove down and brought up the orangiest fake-looking crab I have ever seen in my life. Like the fake plastic crab that comes in the, you know, this is your first fish restaurant thing, your Long John Silver's, and that fake net is up there with all the sea lions and shit in it.
Yeah.
And, you know, manatee, whatever. But those fake, and this thing had this orange crab. And he was like, "Look, I got a crab." We're like, "Look at your crab. You go, otter." And so he's like, "Yeah, fuck this crab." And he ate the crab. But he didn't just like, you know, he ate the crab and then he'd roll in the water to like get the crab, the not so tasty parts of the crab out of his mouth, which the seagulls found amazing.
Yeah.
So this whole thing's going on. And so he just systematically destroyed that crab. And honestly, we're like, I fucking got a craving for crab all of a sudden. And none the fresher than that otter's got. We got to work something out with the otters.
Yeah.
So you dove down.
I was thinking. I was giving it some thought. But I realized that even the hardcore surfers there are wearing a 97 millimeter wetsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like these guys, they go out. You have no idea gender or anything. They may not be humans. They may be sea lions. I don't know riding the surfboards, but everybody's going out in that water because the water's fucking cold. And I'm sure it's cold when it's warm out, but it's cold, especially cold when it's December. So it was super fun. And we got to do all kinds of cool shit. We went to the boardwalk, and I rode a carousel, got a ring, and then threw the ring in the clown's mouth and made the thing go crazy. Did all the fun stuff. We saw vampires, loads of vampires. So a lot of the vampires came out for the event because that also, the Vampires Motorcycle and Scooter Club.
When they got there, did you hear like, "Thou shalt not"?
Yes, Sisters of Mercy was playing in the background.
Yeah, everybody's got speakers on their stuff. That's what they play. That's the entire thing.
The entire city, the whole boardwalk is just the soundtrack from Lost Boys.
Right.
Yep. It is a very much fun. It is a very cool place. It's a big fucking cut up buff guy playing a saxophone for all he's worth, just on the pier 24/7.
Exactly.
But it was very fun. It was really, really cool. And it was great to see all the misfits out kind of in one place. And I felt very honored to be there as a token misfit, or as a brother from another mother, as they say, right? And so I don't know. They opened, they gave it a look, and they left again. Yeah, it's all right. We'll see. Yeah, you can see if food is.
Well, they didn't grab anything on the way out, did they?
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
So, but I got to give those guys, and I give Liza so much credit because she does live and breathe for this shit. She really does, and she put her heart and soul into that, and her team was right there with her. And the amount of work that they had to do for weeks on end to put this 500th episode shenanigans together. And Liza had this great idea. She's like, you know what we got to do? Once a year, you guys got to do a rally in Cleveland for the podcast people. And then we'll do something like this in Santa Cruz. And I said, well, we do. It's called Mid-Ohio.
Right.
And it's never sucked.
No.
Yeah.
It has never sucked, not once ever.
Nope.
And if you think I'm going to lift one finger to create an event when there's already an event,
Exactly.
and that means I have to go to 2 events,
Exactly.
you're fucking wrong.
We'll just keep making what we do better there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or just coast and rest on our fucking laurels. Do you know if I don't bring Not a Ramp this year, somebody will build one.
Well, no, I've already looked into a manufacturing process to actually make a foldable one, so it's easier to transport. So we're working on that.
Because nobody could find a 2x8 sheet of plywood.
No, it has to be. We have to take it to the next level.
Oh yeah, you see, that's where problems start. Yeah, that's it. That's where you start getting into that, exit velocity
Well,
problem.
John and his fireworks. He wanted to set it up that at certain times of the day when you hit it, fireworks.
Oh, well, there you go. Yep. And that's the thing. So we did have a great time about that. And that was great getting back together with our motorcycles and misfits folks. And it's just, again, you probably 80% of the people that listen to this listen to that.
How many people were on stage at the end of the day?
I think we had a dozen or more.
Wow.
A dozen or more.
Impressive.
All mic'd up, ready to rock. Yeah. So it was pretty good.
Maybe 15 to 20.
It was a big cast.
Photo I saw.
Yeah, we had a big cast. A lot of people up there. A lot of swinging meat. But it was good. Pretty fun. No top 10 lists, so that was good.
Prime delivery.
Twas Renee.
It was Renee's exit strategy?
Ah.
Okay. Yep.
That's fair.
All right. Cool.
So you didn't ride, but they did.
I was, you know what? I took my gear. I got on the airplane like a grade A tit, right? Flannel lined, waterproof, and ready for action. Wearing like leather and had bags.
Sweating your sack
Sweating
off
my
on the
sack
plane.
off. 2 different airplanes. Had to stop in Minneapolis. Fuck you, United Club. I got all the United passes I could ever want. I tried to go into United Club. So, sir, did you fly here today on United? You have the computer. I just scanned my card. You want to make me lie? Or you want to reward a customer? It's been a customer since you were fucking Continental. Remember Continental? Right. No, you don't, do you? Because you're new here, right? Yeah. And I'm like, so why don't you just let me into the United Club? Let me go in and grab a handful of snacks in the 2 minutes I have,
right.
Take a polite shit, right?
I'll even do a courtesy.
Wipe the sweat off my balls. And then go down to my gate and get on my stupid Delta airplane.
Right.
But let me burn one of these United passes that's going to expire. Oh, by the way, it's December 8th, today.
Yeah.
So, no, they wouldn't let me burn one of those United passes because I didn't fly in or out on United. You can only use a United pass when you're flying United. Because, as though the rest of the time the airline just stops being.
Right. So what you're saying is...
Or the President's Club goes away.
You should just go ahead and fly Southwest anyway.
I also thought, in retrospect, I should have just
Because
said.
they send me free drinks now.
Yeah, I do. I get those too. Yeah, I do love that. I just love the entire concept of, oh, well, I wasn't flying United today because you took your fucking hub out of Cleveland. And had you left your fucking hub in Cleveland, I would be flying United today. So it's your fault that I can't go in and take a giant shit in your toilet. So there, deal with that. So anyway, customer service is king. So that was that. Yeah, it's fun. Good times. Yeah. So anybody else do anything fun this week?
I went to Skidmark Garage yesterday for their little happy hour talk that Brian gave about the Vintage 500 ride that he did this summer.
Yes.
And he had a lot of video. Looked really incredible. I mean, this is a ride that's probably, it looked like it was 80 or 90% off the pavement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're fording rivers,
Yeah, I heard
not
about
streams, rivers.
Right.
And
And there's no support, right? They have to support.
no, there
themselves?
is a support vehicle.
Right.
Oh, is there? Okay.
But
Yep.
There's some kind of Toyota with a trailer that follows along behind. But not when you go through the actual dirt parts, he can't go that way. So
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not.
He just can't go that way.
Nope.
You might be unsupported.
Yeah, there's no
it
sag.
was interesting. There, like one of the guys, I guess, was riding a Honda Dream,
Yep.
like an old '60s Suzuki two-stroke. Someone else rode. Brian had that. I forget exactly what it was.
So he had a Honda Super Hawk that is the Scrambler. So it's the Scrambler kit. The Scrambler. So very, very cool. 500 miles. Costs you $350 to enter the event. And it is truly vintage. It is not vintage inspired. This is not the Distinguished Gentleman's Run. This is a test of road going vintage machines, dirt machines. Fantastic. But what I love is that they're doing it with roll charts.
Yeah.
So that the entire thing is done roll chart. So they're even saying we're going to do it in that vintage style as well. And that's pretty cool. They are providing you with the roll chart. And there is no GPS. Nope. Camping at pre-selected and pre-reserved campsites, right? So that's cool. Different campground every single night. Your registration fee, $350 might sound like a little steep, but that's your camping, that's your food, that's your beverages, that's those maps they give you, right? And have fun, man. 25 competitors only. That's tight. I mean, that's very
like
tight.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. I like the sound of that.
He said
very
he
cool.
was the only bike that didn't break down.
Which, again,
Honda.
That's why I buy Honda.
well, stack the deck in your own favor if
Yeah.
you can, right?
Yeah.
By all means. What I'm going to say, the September ride, right? So the September ride has the largest, it's got the widest swath of bikes. Because in the September ride, your bikes can be as new as 1981. There's a lot of really, really simple motorcycles that we know could be extremely reliable in that 75 to 81 window, right? That you could get a lot of cool stuff for. You could get electronic ignition for, okay, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is pretty fun. They say that your bike must be street legal, registered, and insured. You must have a valid motorcycle license. Suspension can only be upgraded with components available before 1980 or new replacement parts with the same travel specs. So upgraded rear shocks are okay. Front end swaps manufactured before 1980 are okay. And monoshock conversions are not okay.
Right.
And I think that was very interesting, the way they chose to do that classification in there to keep the monoshock bikes out of there. That monoshock was the point where motorcycles truly became off-road weapons. So to keep it fair for everybody, that is freaking cool. Everything you need for the weekend, you got to carry it with you.
So I saw this. Somebody else posted that they were doing this, and it looked really cool. But where is it? I never figured that out.
It was in, he said, Tennessee, Georgia, and North Carolina.
Oh,
Right.
cool. So
That's
it's actually
exactly
over.
right.
I just assumed it was on the West Coast. Like, you know what I mean? It seems like such
Well,
a
that's because
West.
everything always happens on the West Coast.
Right, right. But it also seems very West Coasty too.
No.
It does, yeah.
It's kind of like the motorcycle clunker racing or something.
It
you know,
is, yeah.
like yeah.
But looking at that, and then, I got to talk to Brian quite a bit at Mid-Ohio about it, because he was riding the bike all around Mid-Ohio. And what a thing, man. And I'm very proud of him for doing it. And I'm also very proud of him for doing it with that bike.
Yeah.
Because he didn't go, okay, let's grab a 1980 Honda XR.
No, he took a
Or,
basic
a SL.
road
Yeah.
bike and ish.
Yeah, he took a freaking Superhawk, man.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very impressed by his tenacity, and also by just having that bike set up so well, so well done.
Yeah, he said he's never ridden in the dirt before that ride.
That's what he said. He said it was a lot.
Trial by fire, man. Jeez.
So that was cool. That was great, and I'm so happy you got to go to that. Check that out. That was cool.
That was a nice thing too. They had beer.
Yeah.
The important part.
Beer and soft drinks.
Yeah.
The bar there is pretty well stocked.
And then they talked about bikes.
And the Skidmark bar, the new Skidmark facility is amazing.
Yeah, it's
so
cool.
It really is great for that kind of an event. I'm glad to see they're doing that stuff, because that's amazing for our community.
Yeah, you had some hors d'oeuvres laid out. So
Oh,
pretty nice.
That is very cool. Like Brian and the entire Skidmark operation, it's fucking cool. Like we've always been huge supporters of them and what they want to do, and MotoGo especially, to help the kids learn how to wrench on bikes, because the world isn't making any more motorcycle mechanics, so we have to. That empire, that creation of Mr. Schafrin, it's brilliant. It's great, and I'm very, very happy that he did it. I'm so impressed by him to do that, because it's something that if every city had one of those, right? Clean, well-lit place where all the people who like motorcycles could get together, and you want to be like, okay, well, we're going to stand around in the circle and smoke beer and drink cigarettes, or are we going to stand around a CB 450 and make it work?
Right.
Right?
Or smoke beer and drink cigarettes.
Right,
Around
exactly.
450.
Right, that's exactly it. Which was how the podcast got started. We're going to threaten this motorcycle with screwdrivers until we run out of cigarettes. Yeah. But so cool. That's great. And so did they put everything into a video? Did they put together a video
Yeah,
presentation
he had
for
a
it?
photos and video slideshow that he did.
Very cool.
From like working on the bike, first time they tried to start it up, basically caught on fire.
Yeah.
That's traditional.
Yeah, that's good. It's seasoned by fire. It seems to be the theme to tonight's podcast is seasoned by fire. Oh, man.
Since we're talking about these things,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but Steve Noble posted. So if any of our listeners have companies or any kind of a company or anything like that, and feel like helping and sponsor out MotoGo,
Yes.
they are looking right now. They're getting set up for next year, and they're looking for some sponsors.
They're looking for tool donations.
Yep.
They're looking for, look, a pocket full of 10 millimeters goes a long way.
Yeah.
Right? But $100, $200, that goes further.
But if you have a company, they have.
Buys
Especially
a lot of 10 millimeters.
yeah.
We donate every year. So our shop makes, and I don't want to, it's probably the biggest donation to charity that I do in my world. And I like it because it's here, right? It's here in our city. It has direct impact on my life because the people that go to MotoGo, the young kids that go to MotoGo,
Will be your customers.
are going to be my customers. Or they're going to be working here,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Would I hire a 16-year-old kid out of the MotoGo program? Well, you bet your ass I would. They already show an interest in it, an enthusiasm for it, right? They're already into it. Maybe they've been doing it for 2 years, part of the program. Oh, man, bring that kid in my shop. Get him in here right now, right? Let me throw him some money, right?
Yeah, let him dig through all the all the debris.
Oh, my God, man.
Right?
I'm going to work at a motorcycle shop. This is going to be great. What am I going to do? Sword hardware.
Sword hardware.
I could be working at Ace. At
Yep.
least the hardware there's clean.
Yep.
Yeah. So I really do. I do really love the whole thing that they do, the execution, the concept, MotoGo, and Skidmark, because, man, if you have no motivation and you call my shop and you say, I've got a 1987 Magna, I'm not going to work on your bike. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I'm not going to work on your bike, but I am going to give you the number to Skidmark Garage. Because then if you want to work on your bike, that's cool. That's great. Now, if you really want somebody else to work on your bike, you're going to find out real quick that's not going to go so well.
Well, you're going to find out real quick how short $1,200 goes. Yeah. Well, we start with the 4 carb kits.
Right.
We pull the carburetors off, and then it's like, and the carb kits are about $87 a piece. So by the time you're through $1,200, you might have been a bit. No.
So there's these things called intake boots.
Yeah. And you're going to need 4.
And you need all of them.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah.
What's that thing you got pulled up there? It looks like 2 R6s stuck together with glue.
Oh, I just thought it was one of those things that really
Fever dream that somebody came up with in CAD.
every once in a while, certain motorcycle companies, I don't know, man. They just, I just can't explain it.
Well, somebody tried to reinvent the Miata.
Yep. And, when Piaggio came out with the MP3, I said, you know what? It's just ugly enough and stupid enough that it'll die a sudden death and nobody will want it.
10 years later.
And then it met the internet.
And then Yamaha said,
Oh, no.
I think we can do that with a motorcycle, and did the Niken with, 2 swords,
Yep.
And then somebody else went, you think you could put 2 wheels on the back too? And Yamaha went, oh, we got a guy for that. Yeah.
When does it become a motor vehicle and not a motorcycle?
Well, different states have different rules. In the state of Ohio, if the tires are less than 18 inches apart, if the wheels are less than 18 inches apart, they count as 1 wheel. I know it's kind of weird, but that Tomahawk motorcycle, 2 wheels front, 2 wheels in the back, because those wheels were essentially right next to each other. I know there's 4 wheels, but we're only going to count them as 2.
Gotcha.
Right? But so there you have it. And that's what that is. And when you look at something like that, when you see somebody spent just as much time designing the headlight assembly on this bike, right? as the other guy did designing the entire suspension system, right? There's no one little part of this bike that is, let's just say, just thrown at the bike, right? There is so much.
The front fenders look like high heels.
The front fenders do look like high heels. Oh my God, the front fenders look exactly like high heels.
What is it called? We've got bike and we've got trike.
Oh my God, you're right.
Is it a quike?
It does. Yeah. It's called the OR2T, is what it's called, the Yamaha OR2T prototype. And I love where it says it's 4 wheels of pure excitement. And I was like, or it's just the worst motorcycle anybody ever built.
And the worst Miata I've ever seen. You're absolutely correct.
Right. So it's a Miata for lonely people who have no shit. Or
there's not, for 4 wheels, they didn't give you 2 seats.
What
is that little thing?
Oh yeah, there's no rear pegs on it at all.
No.
There's no passenger pegs on this thing at all.
That's because you'll always be alone if you own it.
You will. And because it doesn't mean that owning this bike is going to make you an awful human. It's that only awful humans are going to buy this bike.
Well, and that's my other thing. Looking at this thing, right?
Yeah.
It has normal motorcycle wheels on the front and back, right?
It does.
That's going to take away if you can't put 36s on this thing.
Oh, that's right.
That's true.
Who's going to buy it?
God, the
That's
target
true.
audience doesn't want it anymore.
Right.
The center of gravity on this thing appears to be about 7 feet in the air. Okay. So if a low CG helps a Formula One car get around a corner in a hurry, then this thing should be not great. What it looks like is somebody though was drawing a transformer and got to the kneecaps and stopped. Right. And that's what you're right with the high heels, especially.
High heel shoes up there. It looks like they got bowling pins for steering columns.
You know what? If this was a GoBot, I'd call it the Slaminatrix.
So I'm seeing paralever there with
Yeah.
a hub center steering.
Yes, definitely.
And
Yeah, paralevers on the front.
This is a CAD. This is like some college graduates
Yep.
CAD program.
It is really
like this
what
is
it
their
is.
final
It's
test,
so
and they were
bad.
like, let's create something crazy that no one would ever build. And Yamaha went, we'll do it.
Oh my god!
Well, but here's the thing. Can you tell, is everything lean then?
yes.
So is the
Oh, yeah,
swing
no,
arm,
yes.
does
Yes.
the swing arm pivot sideways
Yes.
too?
No, they're separate.
No, they
it's
just do
separate.
Oh, the whole thing.
Yeah,
leans
no,
like that.
everything is universal independent
Yeah,
suspension,
they
but
do
it's
Yeah, I won't be
it's
getting
really trying to reinvent the wheel when you should just stop.
Wait, that's how close all that shit is?
No, this is a different one, but it's the same idea.
concept.
Right,
Oh.
same concept. But again, it comes down to the whole thing of like, I will always use this phrase because I'm lazy. If it was better, because remember, in competition, I don't care how dumb it looks. If it will give me 1/10 of 1 second, I'm running it.
Well, they did. You remember that the Formula One car with the 4 front wheels?
And you remember how well that worked?
It worked amazingly well. They banned it like 5 seconds later.
It wasn't so much that they banned it.
They also banned the forced induction car that sucked itself down.
Yeah,
to
just
pavement
sucked
too,
itself
so,
down. Right, yeah.
Because anything that can suck itself down is really
Exactly.
no. But the reason
now-
that the reason
now
the
they
Elf,
have-
right.
Now they have the variable rear wing thing
Right.
though, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
caught on.
But the reason that the Elf car, the Elf car, the
Yeah,
6-wheeler,
yeah.
yeah.
because the front wheel diameters, in order to run those two separate bogies in the front,
they were tiny.
the wheels were really tiny, and so that was the problem. Is they could not make that work.
Yeah.
So so they had excess like crazy wheel failure, and our car nerds will tell me how wrong I am. That's fine. I don't care. But there's a reason that they're not still doing it
Right.
because it didn't work. And if you want to know what works, you look at what's on the racetrack right now. I don't see any
Yep.
4-wheeled motorcycles on the racetrack, so fuck you.
No, but you know
Right.
what's going to be happening though?
Yeah, but I do still occasionally see Harleys, and I still don't know why that's doing a thing.
Oh, you mean bagger racing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
That's actually funny though. That's kind
But
of like
that's
what,
the idea.
That's kind of like what. Yeah.
Look,
I don't
there's a
mind.
reason.
That I give it to
there's a
them.
reason when you go to the rodeo, the clowns have their own show.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
I mean,
right.
that's what makes that kind of fun. But you know what's going to be interesting is in the next year, because of MotoGP and now Moto America,
Right.
you're going to see like the plastic bolt-on ABS wings for the front of your fucking
yes,
sport
you
bike.
are.
You're just going to see like
no,
the
you're
fucking,
going to start seeing plastic bolt-on wings on everything.
yeah, just
Yep.
all kinds of front fascia weird fucking wings.
I am thinking that we're probably a year and a half out from Harley Davidson having wings on an Ultra Glide that serve absolutely no purpose.
because that would well, no, that's the entire bike. But that Harley is never going to reinvent any of their bodywork. Now, aftermarket, they've been using the same platform since what 38. It's not like they changed anything but the color scheme.
Right.
Hey, look, this year we've got 2 cams, but they're
It's-
down at the bottom.
Right. Just at the bottom.
Fuel injection. What kind of crazy math is that? Oh,
Yeah.
communism.
Yep. I'm extremely
Well,
believing that the wing fakery is all going to end up being what they said, win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be silly because this is one of those things where I think whether it was Ducati or Aprilia slapped the first set of wings on a bike, and within about 3 or 4 seconds, everyone else like, oh, we can add downforce. So wait. Is there any limit to the number of wings we can have? Because I'm predicting
no.
we're going to see 300, 400, 500 wings on a bike.
great.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a thing.
What's the equivalent of double windshield wipers?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever the equivalent of those are, we're going to start
We're going to
seeing
have
them.
triple windshield wipers with 6 air deflectors on
Right.
them that you can individually adjust.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
and the thing.
Right.
They're
But
going to have mirror wings.
mirror wings.
That's
yes,
gonna help
right,
you put-
right. So you're going to go to J.C. Whitney. I mean, you're going to go to Advanced Auto Parts.
Right.
Yep.
And they're going to have mirror wing extensions for your motorcycle.
front fender doubler.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You got to have that second thing that
Yep.
shoots air.
And the Japanese people are looking at
Well-
us going, you're all amateurs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're all
And
amateurs.
Ducati's like, sure, we'll charge you $1,200 a piece for that.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, they will. It's our own
non-functional
special.
knockaducks
Non-functional,
just
yeah.
on
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
It's our own special blend of non-functional knockaduck.
Dude, you know what's funny? There's a thing on the internet right now that shows this guy's looking at a Toyota Corolla, right?
Right.
And it's got like this functional front air dam vent that goes to the fucking wheels.
Yeah.
And then he looks at whatever their super high-end sports car is.
Okay.
And it's all fake vents. Like, so on the front of like the super high-end, like whatever, the Super or whatever the new like hot Toyota is, all the vents on the front are blocked off and they're just for looks. But if you go to the Corolla, it actually goes all the way through.
It goes all the way
to
through.
The brakes.
Yeah, of course it does. Absolutely. Yeah. So I did want to talk about a real thing.
Oh no.
So, I know, right? You're supposed to be all fun and games and us, fucking with other people, but it's not. So Tesla keeps killing motorcyclists, right? And they just
birds.
They just can't seem to stop killing motorcyclists. It's not great. Now, the reason I pulled this particular image up so you guys could see it, I pulled this particular screen up. I wanted you guys to just have a look at this because this particular screen is going to give you a problem. I have a problem with this particular screen. If you Google, which I did, motorcyclist killed by Tesla.
You get multiple stories.
Well, you get a lot of stories, but you know what I don't see in any of these? Okay. A good count. Mercury News.
I think wasn't it like 5 or 6 people on bikes have been killed by him? I don't know why that number.
How about 38?
38?
That's the face you're supposed to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in California.
No, not in just California. But it's over the world of operators. So yes, 38 humans.
Yeah, but don't
humans.
worry because Tesla just unleashed their commercial transport trucks this week. So that's it's not a problem.
So and I do recommend everybody, and I mean everybody, should read up on how 38 motorcyclists have been killed by Tesla. Now that's more people than have died riding West Coast choppers bikes. That's more people than have died buying Orange County choppers. I think. I'm pretty sure.
And I'm just going to say, fuck putting a wing on your bike.
Right.
Let's put something on the back of it that'll make a Tesla see it.
Well, yeah. And so there's a real problem. And
those big whippy flags you used to have when you ride off road
and dunes and stuff.
Yeah, but it's like, why do I have to Tesla-proof my fucking motorcycle?
Because
when I was a kid, I was angry about having to fucking stupid-proof my big wheel.
Well, now you're stupid-proofing it against Elon Musk.
So what they're going to do is he's going to partner with Apple, and they're going to send you a motorcycle AirTag for free that you can put on your battery.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So, A, you get to know if your bike's stolen, but secretly, Teslas are all going to be like knowing where the bikes are because they're going to have AirTags.
Right.
That's a brilliant idea.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So the Tesla can say,
it's cheaper than fixing the tech.
Our optical sensors suggest that there's a motorcycle 900 feet away, but it's warning us that there's an AirTag stalking us from just 5 feet away.
Right.
So do we try to avoid the person stalking us, or do we try to not run in the motorcycle? All right. But I kind of got... Now, the reason I'm concerned about this is there's a little bit of a bait and switch involved with this whole I got a car that can see you.
Right.
Because the one thing that I know could see the motorcycle, I guarantee it, would be LiDAR. LiDAR is a system that uses lasers just like we used to use radar. Radio distance and ranging is radar.
And it's become so commercially viable that DJI has made their cinema camera, which is a $6,000 cinema camera. Yeah. The focusing is all done by LiDAR.
All done by LiDAR.
And it's supposed to be insanely accurate.
All of them. And it is. And LiDAR is something that, when I was in the military and stuff like that, when you have military budgets, you kind of throw LiDAR on some stuff, right?
That's true.
Look. We're trying to build these cars to a price point.
Dude, this toothbrush can find every cavity. It's got LiDAR.
It's got LiDAR.
You got to build to a price point, and next year Corolla, the new electric Corolla is going to beat the Tesla anyways. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But for right now, at the leading edge, you have to build it to a price point and don't improve the technology beyond that.
No, I don't think you need to, right?
Unless you have to download the firmware.
Oh, well, in that case, yeah.
And as Phil found out earlier this week,
it's just not possible.
Well, also, Tom brings up a good point. So speaking of firmware, KTM's dropping their new bikes, and they're going to give you, It's a new bike that's going to be built in China by CF Moto, but it's still a KTM.
Yep.
And for 1,500 miles, they're giving you all the features.
Right.
And then at 1,500 miles, it all shuts off, and all you have is a bike. And that's it.
Well,
and then you can start buying all.
But then the head
features.
gasket's going to blow because it says KTM on the side of it.
Exactly.
So it's just like a Subaru. Well, we've hit that point where we're at the end of this, so that the head gasket's got to go.
Right.
And that's absolutely true. So the reason that it turns out that a lot of these Teslas are murdering motorcyclists may have something to do with a certain motor company's insistence upon having the back of their motorcycles look a certain way. And it turns out that one of the ways that the Tesla determines how far something is away from it is by looking forward and going, I see 2 red lights before me, shining in the distance. My default brain tells me that those 2 lights shining at the distance are ein car, right? And so because those lights are very close together, that car must be very far down the road. Okay? Because as I cut closer to that car, those lights are going to get further apart. And because I'm a Tesla and I've been programmed for such things, I will know that as I'm getting closer to a car that's in front of me, because I don't have LiDAR, because that was expensive. And we originally put that in the project, but we had to take it out because that was expensive.
But you know what? Okay, but did they have
You
different?
don't get to buy Twitter if you're not saving money.
No, but let me ask you guys something, because I don't know, and I'm inquisitive about this.
Yeah.
So at work, we have a Tesla Model S that we get to play with.
Sure.
Like, we've done tires and all
Yeah.
this stuff on it. And when you're in that thing,
Yep.
it has the giant, screen and stuff.
Yeah.
When you're driving down the road,
Right.
I mean, it shows you when you go up to a construction thing.
Yeah.
It'll show that there's some kind of a big truck
Sure.
working. But more,
Yep.
what fascinated me is that it nailed all the traffic cones
Right.
that were out.
It
And
knows every
knows
single traffic cone.
So how can it see a fucking traffic
And at
cone but
some
not a
point,
motorcycle?
it will actually, because it has been programmed to know what these objects are. Billions and billions and billions of objects.
Yeah.
And at some point, your Tesla might think that that is a box truck when it's actually just a sign, a warning sign, right?
Right.
And as you get closer to it, Tesla will change its mind and go, oh, well, that is a box truck.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to show you a picture, right? And I want you to tell me, looking at this picture, okay, which one of these objects. Are we there? No, let's make sure that the folks at home can see this, because this is important. Okay. So looking at this object, at this thing, okay, I want you to tell me which one of these objects, okay, is the brake light. Okay? Just go ahead at your leisure. Okay.
One on the right.
Yeah,
Right.
It's the
Right.
turn signal looking.
Thank you. It is the turn signal looking thing. The big thing in the middle
Reflector.
is a reflector.
Right.
You know why? Because the goddamn fucking DOT and NHTSA says you have to have a reflector on the back of your motorcycle.
Yeah, but that is the side. I assume the side license plate is probably not DOT approved
It-
because it has to be central to the bike and able to be. No.
Thank you.
That's factory.
That is factory.
Oh gosh.
So on this and not a small number of
rules
other
mean nothing
motorcycles
anymore.
called Dynas, okay, they've decided that having a big fuck off tail light in the middle of the fender where it should be was tacky. So in the interest
Wait.
of
Wait.
factory customs,
We're talking about people who own Harley Davidsons.
Yep.
Worried about this thing called being tacky.
Okay. So,
Sorry,
yeah. No, this
continue.
is real. So this bike that you're seeing in the picture is so factory that the Dynabag owner hasn't even removed the sin of all
Reflector yet.
sins, the
Yep.
reflector off of it yet,
Yep.
which is the first thing to go.
Yep.
Okay. But that out there is a dual filament bulb that operates both as a turn signal and as a brake light. Okay. Which is not out of control, except for when it's 100 feet away, you got 2 lights. And they kind of look like taillights on a car. One red light, one red light. Motorcycles historically will have a brake light in the middle,
Yeah.
a single light in the middle.
Yeah.
And when we get into this sort of optical confusion, okay, the problem is sometimes we let our artificial intelligence say, well, what is it most likely to be? What is it more likely to be? Because this is what we want we want to believe the backside of our motorcycle looks like at night, right? We want to see, a big fuck off bright light in the middle and maybe even another light below it. And we want that triangle of safety, et cetera, and all that shit. But at minimum, we think it's going to look like this. And I assure you, Tesla probably would see that. I hope, maybe. But what I can tell you it's not seeing is that. What's seeing it, and it's misinterpreting it to be not a motorcycle that's 40 feet away at a 30 mile per hour speed difference, but a motorcycle or a car that's 400 feet away. And it's just strangely coincidental that the vast majority of these guys that are getting murdered by Teslas happen to be riding a particular model of motorcycle from a particular company. And if that isn't the strangest thing in the world, that Tesla has gone out there and accidentally started Elon Musk is trying to kill Harley riders. Go ahead, Chris.
So I'm surprised that there's not some sort of a proximity sensor on the front of it.
You mean radar?
Whatever it happens.
That's radar.
I mean, they use the proximity sensors to have them park themselves, all that kind of stuff. So
sonar and radar.
It's not like the technology is not there.
Right.
And it's not $1 million per car. So why they just don't put that up front? Because they're trying to avoid crashing another.
They do, and they have it.
But to rely just on visual rather than
I don't think they're relying on just the visual. I think the car is getting in a bit of an argument. And I think the car, the brain of the car is saying, if X and Y, then Z. And then it says, if X and Y and Z, then C, right? The result is 38 people are dead. So something's not being handled correctly. But also, there has been no fucking gang of people with pitchforks and torches
I want you to look up
shutting them down.
I want you to look up a thing for me.
Yeah.
How many people did the Pinto kill?
Oh, yeah. Right. This is going to be good. Yeah.
Look at it. Go ahead. Because you said 38 motorcyclists.
Right. Yep. When you say how many people were killed by the Pinto, it's going to be like horse injuries.
Go ahead. But it killed the Pinto.
Yeah.
It changed the way we mount gas tanks in the rear of cars from there on forward.
Well, only 6 people ever died from eating a poisoned Tylenol.
Right.
And what has that changed?
So,
27 deaths.
So you're already more by the Tesla. Now, this is just people being hit by the Tesla. This is not the number of people with the whole autopilot thing and yada, yada, yada.
27 people were killed by a Pinto.
And it changed the way we mount gas tanks in cars.
It fucking did. And it changed it forever. Yeah.
And that was all done by the NTSB. So
yes, exactly.
You would think that they're going to intercede in something like this.
Right.
And just say, we're shutting you down.
And 38 people. And now the whole, how many days, right? 100. When you look at how many days did it take for that Pinto thing to become viral, and everybody and every talk show host ever in America was talking about, hey guys, there's a story about Pintos exploding when you hit them in the back end, right? Well, that was all like right now in a hurry. We've had 38 people die in a world where we have got instant communication with everybody on planet Earth at all times. And you would just assume that they would say, stop the presses. No more self-driving Teslas come out of that hole in the side of that factory until they stop killing bikers. Yeah. Right? Because as long as there are cars out there that when you take your hands off the wheel, they run over motorcyclists, you would fucking think that you would stop production.
But you know what?
Motorcyclists are people too, right?
Right. Oh, but you know what they're going to say, though? They're going to say that Tesla's going to say it's not their fault because it states every possible way that you can say that you're not supposed to just take your hands off the wheel and let the car drive.
Right.
It's just supposed to offer you a little bit of a relaxation, but you're still supposed to be looking.
Right. Yeah.
So they're not going to be liable for any of it. Also, that Patreon money's kicking in. I heard that $10 word. What was that word you used?
The NTSB?
Before that. No, you said, oh man, I had it.
Well, way to go play that back. All right.
Yeah, you had a great word. Like you're dropping some good words. It was whatever you said. You asked them if they were going to whatever. It was
ameliorate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's those $10 words.
Yeah.
You're dropping the big ones on
Those
it.
are only $4 words.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's something that
Sleepy will give you 10.
Yeah.
All right.
that's something that I think is look, just because you put a disclaimer on it, right?
No
That
pets.
doesn't cover your ass.
No pets.
No pets.
Right? Right? How I want to know how many kids were killed by jarts.
Until they had to. Well, how about three-wheelers? How many people died on three-wheelers till they fucking banned them? And I'm surprised you're allowed to resell them. You know what individually did it? It was that one 2020 article where they
Right.
said these will kill you.
Yeah.
And after that, it was over. But
Right.
I wonder how many people died on three-wheelers. That's a good.
3 children's deaths were attributed to lawn darts.
Wow.
And we lost one of the coolest toys in my childhood
Yeah.
because 3 fucking dildos were like, okay, throw it straight up.
No, but you did always throw them straight up. And the thing is that you could have been a bullied person.
Yeah.
And if you were late enough leaving and missed the dart by just enough, you came out the hero and you were no longer bullied.
Game on, buddy.
Yeah.
But again, 3 kids died from jarts. You don't see another jart.
Nope.
They're gone. Right? Try to buy a bottle of fucking vitamins that you can get open without a pair of ice grips thanks to 6 people dying from Tylenol.
You can't
Right?
buy jarts on eBay. They take the thing you can't even buy used anything jarts.
But 38 people have been actually killed by Teslas. Hungry Teslas have gone out and eaten 38 bikers, right?
No problem.
And it hasn't impeded Tesla number 1.
That's because the world can do with less bikers anyway.
Well, but that entire, I mean, look, I'm not even going to play this stupid card of being like, yeah, but those guys are all riding Dynas anyway, so fuck them, right?
I was kidding, yeah.
But it is fucking shocking to
Yeah,
me
that
if
is
that was
weird.
the case, right? I mean, yes, we live in a country where we still buy, semi-automatic weapons, down at Walmart right now, with wouldn't want to slow you down. Can we put you in the express lane? I notice you have less than 5 items in your cart. Let's get you out of the store as fast as you can, sir. And by the way, would you like some frequent flyer miles with those?
You want to meet some really interesting people?
Yeah.
Head over to Rural King at about 1 o'clock on a Saturday.
That's when they release the new ammo?
And listen to all the people standing around the gun case.
Yeah, they're all standing around the gun case waiting for the 9mm to drop.
Well, and there's also some interesting individuals that are like, I got 3 of these,
Of
7
course.
of those, 2 of those. You're like, it's
duck and cover, baby.
They're
Duck
worse.
and cover.
They're worse than motorcycle aficionados.
Oh yeah. Again, if it wasn't a motorcycle shop, Steve, it would have been a gun shop.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I know.
we'd still be sitting around the table.
Yeah.
It'd just be a smaller room.
Right.
Right. Yeah. That's all real. But yeah, oh man, come on. Like, what kind of titanium dick does Elon Musk have that he can avoid that? Because that seems like the shit that would be right up Nitz's alley.
There's got to be
right?
some kind of legality where they just can't get to him. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm saying, like there's got to be something where like he has it laid out.
Yeah, right.
Because it is weird.
Yeah, I know. Like the idea of the disclaimer is like this is just a driver's aid. You're supposed to keep one hand on the wheel at all time, et cetera, like that.
Stay back 200 feet.
Well, as
Nothing replaces a train driver.
no. You gotta. What was it
It's
again?
literally on rails. It's
Yeah.
literally on
Well,
rails,
you
and
know,
it has
as-
dead man switches along the way.
Yeah. No, as the most interesting thing, and I've been told this is the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
By somebody who knows better, is that autopilot, when it senses a no-win situation,
Yeah.
turns off. There
Oh, because it can't make
'Cause
the
it doesn't
decision
want-
between a baby and an old
Yep.
lady.
No, because it doesn't.
No. When it hits a no-win situation,
Then it turns
when
off.
it knows it's going to crash,
Right.
It shuts
turns off, so it can't be called into court later as evidence.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The
There was
baby
a
and the old
case
lady.
in, I think it was in
That's got to be why it is.
I think it was in San Diego.
So they can't-
where the car was on autopilot
Yeah.
and it kept faulting at the same Jersey barrier at the same
Yeah.
location because
Okay.
it's the way it follows the lines.
Right.
And the guy ended up getting into a bad crash.
Right.
And during the investigation,
Yep.
it came out. Now this is a known thing.
Right.
This is not supposed to be because we're not at autonomous driving yet.
No, we're not.
There's
but
one car that can do it, and it can do it in a parking lot.
Right. And we would
Plain and
still
simple.
like to have the thing that can't really be an autonomous driver at least be a black box.
Right.
Right?
Well, that's at the end of the day, we do not have autonomous driving, and yet they're billing this as an autonomous vehicle. So, like,
I believe they call it full self-driving.
Yeah, and it's not.
Yeah,
it legitimately is not. And like I said, last time I had a guy. I love whenever I get picked up at the airport. Whenever I take an Uber to the airport or back, I do the electric car now. Either do electric, hybrid. What is it? Green. I think it's called green.
Yeah, green.
Uber Green.
Yeah, it's green.
Because hybrids and Teslas, because a lot of them are Teslas nowadays, because the way Hertz leases them out.
Yep.
They do not respond well to damage. Therefore, when you get one, it's always a nice car that's been well repaired. Because if you get the standard Uber, it's some dude in a Corolla with 300,000 miles with four bad tires and a bad tie rod. But yeah, it's still running Uber.
So you met Randy, who drove me for the
But at the end of the day, I had a guy pick me up, and he says, "Yeah, I just put on autopilot and I drove here and back." I'm like, "Are you dumb?" Like, I can totally do lane keep's fine, radar is fine, everything, keep it in the middle of the road, that's all cool. But if you're sitting there with your hands off the wheel, watching TV, watching Netflix on your big screen, while this car does all the driving, you're the fool. Especially in New Orleans where the roads are crap.
Right. Yeah.
But, they sell this thing. The whole marketing campaign literally is, this car will drive itself. It will not drive itself. You still need to keep your hands on the wheel.
Yeah. It's just bonkers.
Yeah.
And it's one thing. Look, the idea is that in that same period of time, how many bikers were killed by other humans?
A lot.
Oh, yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
I mean, as you're driving down, it doesn't matter whether the thing can see you or not. They can't see you.
But we hold AI to a higher standard.
Well, only because of the marketing. Well, because you've entered a computer there, which technically should be smarter than the average driver, and probably is smarter than the average driver.
For sure, 100%. Look, the statistics legitimately.
Oh yeah.
When you look at Nevada, where they've just said, or Arizona, where they're allowing,
where there are no laws. Yeah, I get
they're
it.
just allowing all the self-driving to happen.
Yeah.
And they're encouraging it. The crash rate is astronomically good.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's like the safest place to walk across the street. But just the same, when you've got that 38 corpses stacked up, you really would think that somebody would just say, okay, until we figure this out, you stop.
It was called the 737 MAX, and because of 2 plane crashes, we parked it for.
That's exactly right. And we didn't park it; we parked thousands of aircraft.
I know,
right?
I know. I had to fly something other than Southwest for 6 months.
Way to be an early adopter, Southwest. Yeah.
Well,
So that's really, that's kooky, and there's a little honor to be said for, like, we're just not ready yet.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, we're sampling it. We're gonna pull back a little bit. We want to not kill you with our product. And since we want to not kill you with our product, we're going to go back to the drawing board for a while.
Well, the tech's there.
Yeah.
Everything is there. The problem is you're still running into the fact that we don't spend any money on infrastructure. And actually, if we did, it would be a whole better. And then, you're still dealing with stuff. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I haven't been in radio for 20 years, man.
What?
You're still dealing with. I mean, there you go. That's a perfect example. I didn't see the. What is the? Shoot, I can't
the invisible truck.
I cannot remember that. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, the invisible truck.
I think this might actually be one of the cases where the guy was hands off watching TV.
Yeah, This was a husband and wife team, 65 and 66 years old or something.
It wasn't the guy that was in the back seat filming YouTube videos.
Right. No,
because that guy always in the back seat letting the thing drive.
No, these folks were having a conversation.
Yeah.
These folks were having a conversation, and the traffic stopped suddenly.
Yeah.
And they were fully 100% decapitated.
And it went under the underwrite. I mean, I cannot remember the actress's name now that bar is named after.
Oh, really?
That's Mansfield. That's it.
Jane
It's the Mansfield bar.
Wow.
Because that's what that thing.
I did not know that.
That is what that does.
That's why they're all welded on.
Yeah. Yeah, because that actually happened on the way back to New Orleans from Mobile. And that bar under the trailer, it's named after her because of that exact thing.
Right.
But when you're riding in a Tesla 80 mile an hour with autopilot set on, it's not going to stop you. So it was James.
You know who her daughter is? The Hardesty, Marista.
Mariska Hargitay?
Yeah.
Really?
That's
Did
her
not
daughter.
know. Did not know that.
Yeah, and she was in a Lincoln. I think it was a Lincoln Continental, and went
Yeah,
all the
she
way
was
to the
in
back
a-
seats.
Yeah, she was in the front seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no
She and her husband.
Oh yeah.
no open casket on that
Oh
one.
no.
Do you want to know what must have been a horrible? So I looked this up because I was curious. This Tesla crash, the couple signals right to exit the freeway, and they exit, and I pulled it up here just so you could see it because it's kind of a weird crash data. And I used to be a police officer. I used to write crash reports all the time. Did
It
tons of them.
fucking went down an off ramp and
So-
parked itself.
So it went down and off. Now you saw the amount of force that it removed the entire passenger compartment of that vehicle.
It was moving.
It squished it. But how fast did that thing have to be going into the back of a parked semi? And it's not like this car didn't see the semi. It turned into the semi
Yeah.
at a high enough rate of speed to 100% enter the semi. And that's wild. I mean, it's wild, first of all. The ramp speed must have been pretty intense.
Because
Right.
you're talking about hitting something that actually has a speed crash rating on the back
Yeah.
of that trailer to start with.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're penetrating that far
Yeah,
into Tesla.
exactly.
This is not.
This is a high-speed collision.
You know,
And-
this is not something that should have happened.
Nope.
Period.
No. And you'd think that if that thing was if this vehicle was going to 35 miles an hour, it should have been by law on that ramp.
Oh yeah, no, because
ramp
that
speed's
off,
35
that
miles
off-ramp
per hour.
alone is 30, 35.
Or maybe even 20.
Yeah.
When you're, because is that a rest area? Or
Yeah.
something?
That should be arrested
It's rest
because you're
area.
looking at, and
Yeah,
not only
rest area.
that, not only that, it entered the truck side, not the car side.
Exactly.
So it was completely off the rails.
Right. So there
I
you
mean,
go.
this is why you always keep your eye on the ball.
Yep.
This has.
And
The tech let them down, but the tech
Right.
let them down because they were too busy not paying attention to the road. And the first rule of the road is pay attention.
And maybe if more people knew about this,
Yeah.
right?
Well-
they wouldn't turn the tech on in the first place.
Well, no, having the tech is fine.
Yeah.
The tech is fine. It does what it's supposed
Right.
to do. Even when it crashes,
Yeah.
even when the tech lets you down, you're still supposed to have your hands on the wheel or
course.
be paying attention.
Right.
The tech is fine.
yeah.
But you're dealing with bleeding edge technology. You're dealing with a company that wants bleeding edge technology because that's their
Right.
marketing.
Right.
And yeah, it's going to crash. It's going to fail occasionally. I shouldn't say crash repeatedly
Right.
because
Yeah.
this is not computer crashing versus an
This
actual
situation
crash.
is far different than it drove
Well-
up on the back of a motorcycle
Oh, you
and killed
should
him.
just stay off of I-75.
Well, that's also true. You
That's-
just steer clear of 75.
That's good. That's actually advice
But
you can live by right
you're
there.
dealing with proven technology that is still going to have some bugs in it, no matter what you do.
Right.
We are not. What is it? We're not at autonomous driving yet.
No.
It literally does not exist. Like I said, there's one place
Right.
where it exists.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, everybody literally mandates you have to have somebody in that seat. Period. And you're supposed to be keeping an eye on the freaking road.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So
Either that or take the fucking bus.
Well, yeah. But I'd say that about half the car drivers anyway.
all of my vehicles are driven by are unencumbered by technology, so they predate safety. You have to be aware. When you're driving them, you're aware.
Well-
You just know what's going on.
Well, and the other thing too, you're looking at
Right.
as you're looking at something that literally is made to save lives.
Right. Yep.
Feels like all my cars have ABS.
This
also
is
a backseat.
This is okay. So you got a newer car, yeah?
Yep.
So do you have the lane keep?
No.
Left,
We
right,
don't have
left,
any
right,
car in our entire. We have in our entire arsenal of cars.
Have you, in your roots of driving a new car? Like,
So
have you
I
rented
did.
one yet?
So I rented a Toyota Corolla that
Yeah.
had that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did not know, but it had.
Driving assist.
Yeah,
It had been turned on.
It banners at you
Right.
whenever you cross the line.
Right,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I was one of those. I did one of those like, there's nobody behind me, so I'm just gonna drift a lane change.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just do a lazy lane change.
Oh no! No. Every time, driving one of those,
Yeah.
every time I change lanes, it yells at me because
Yes.
I didn't turn the turn signal on.
Yes.
Because I'm supposed to be a safer driver.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's what this is. And Tesla's tech, for a good example.
Yeah.
Pedestrian avoidance. It works.
Yeah.
Now the bike thing can go. I mean, to be fair, it should register at least the metal of the vehicle in front of it.
Yes. Yes.
That's kind of silly that it's relying on. Well, radar shouldn't be relying on sight, but if it's a camera situation,
Yeah, this is that thing.
So, you're looking at your 401k again.
As motorcycle owners, I would hope that we would all be aware of what's coming at us.
Oh, yeah.
So because Meckel Fresh isn't here right now, he's our Navi supporter.
Wait, can we say why John's not here?
Oh, you should.
So first of all, he lied to me, and the home colonoscopy that I gave him, that was just a joke. He totally took advantage of me, and there was no thing I do. So he's actually going for one tomorrow. So right now, he's at home shitting his brains out.
Yeah, because he drank the juice.
He drank the juice.
He drank the juice.
He's like, I could come in, but I have to leave every 4 minutes.
Really? Yeah. Woo! He's getting a cleanse.
Yeah.
I have a setting on my bidet that does that. Yeah.
It gives you a colonoscopy.
Oh, it gives me a cleanse.
Well, that's the new one that's coming out, but it still hasn't been proven technology.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. It doesn't have LiDAR.
No, it doesn't come out.
It doesn't have LiDAR.
It doesn't have LiDAR.
Yeah.
It has no idea.
It's not fully
You have to keep your
self-driving.
hands on the wheel.
You have to keep your hands on the wheel.
Yes. So because John's not here, of course, we have to just poo just a little bit on the Navi. Again, the reason I brought this up is because today at the shop, Tom told me something that I just refused to believe when he said it.
It's true. I've held them in my hands.
I would like to use the term that I was aghast, and I have not been aghast in a really long time. I was gobsmacked. I was just shocked. I mean, this motorcycle that advances, that under its engineering tab, you guys look at the screen.
Electric starter.
Under the engineering tab, yes, this motorcycle
Brace yourself.
has electric starter.
Oh my God.
Yep.
And they list it under engineering.
Yep.
Engineering, electric starter.
Now.
Just turn the key, press a button, and go.
Now look for the choke.
Oh, yeah.
Look for the choke.
So, but what I do like
And
is
look for the lack of the term fuel injection.
we know there's none of that. But guys, I would like to call your attention back to the fact that under the engineering tab, where it lists all of the engineering.
But let's say if you go to the CBR 1000 RRRR Pirate.
It also has the thing that says electric start on it.
Well, no, but it's like, like carbon fiber, monocoque chassis.
This literally says engineering, and the only thing listed under engineering is electric starter.
Right.
Because they didn't think they needed to mention like frame.
Right.
Made of frame.
It might be metal.
Seat made of cushion.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't say. Okay. Let's go to comfort.
Shocks move.
Comfort.
Oh, there's the seat.
Low seat height.
It's made of seat.
All right. Low seat height. Okay. Great. Is there anything else under comfort? Nope. It is one feature for comfort.
Nope. It has a place to put your feet.
Now, I think performance. I don't think there should be anything in this category.
Have that tab?
It has performance. It has a 109cc four-stroke engine. Now, this is one of my favorite quotes. One of the best aspects of the new Navi is its dependable Honda engine. It's air-cooled for simplicity and cheapiness. Offers spectacular fuel efficiency. Not really. And makes plenty of power. Oh, no. A single-cylinder overhead cam design. It's low maintenance and super reliable. Debatable. Okay. But still, performance, one thing. Convenience. It has an automatic transmission. Okay, CVT, yay, that's great. Cool, no clutch and no shifting, no neutral or park either. Just start up, twist the throttle, and go, go, go. One of the things that I kept noticing about this thing, and I just didn't get it, the ignition is fully transistorized. That's nice that it's transistorized. Remember all those ones that had the vacuum tubes?
I don't think I've heard any. I don't even think I've seen transistorized in an ad in at
Since
least
a radio could fit in your pocket.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Since a radio could
Do you remember back when nobody trusted the Japanese radios?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Japanese radios are too small.
You remember back when you couldn't take your radios out of your house?
Exactly. Well, you could, but you needed a forklift.
Right, but then the radios became transistorized, and you could take them out of your house.
And we could not trust the
So
Japanese.
this motorcycle company is extolling the virtues of its fully transistorized ignition.
I think my 73 Plymouth has that too. It's fully transistorized.
Oh my God.
So the bike, I think, serves a purpose though. And
Yes, it does.
$1,800
For us to make fun of it.
Well, now wait a minute. So for $1,800,
Yeah.
that gives it's a gateway bike.
Yeah.
To get started. You don't have to shift, and you're not going too fast, and you can feel comfortable because my guess is going to be that people that'll buy this are going to want to upgrade to something a little bit bigger and better, and so
Like a Honda Ruckus.
well,
Or a Janus.
or
Or a
something
PCX.
more
Actually,
significant.
ADV, yeah.
But not everybody is like the folks in this room that can just jump on, a 650 and feel comfortable.
Nope.
And so this does fit a part of the
Oh,
market
absolutely.
where they're trying to open the door to
Right.
people that didn't ride bikes when they were kids.
Absolutely. No, I've seen them ridden a couple of them. They're actually really, really cool little bikes.
Yeah,
And
but
at $1,800,
Yeah,
it's
you
basically
can't
a
beat it.
throwaway.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, but
here's-
I don't want to do this.
Okay.
But then you haven't sunk $7,000 into it.
exactly.
But I would like to say that.
And it's got a good name, Honda, behind it.
but it's
So
not though. That's the
But
thing.
here's the problems. First of all,
Problems are just opportunities dressed up in work clothes.
first thing is, in the history of Navi, in this country, as it has been, and for anybody who has purchased it,
Oh, yeah.
not a single human, not a single buyer, has ever been able to buy one for $1,800.
Yeah.
That's going to be $3,600. The smallest invoice I have read about for this product coming out of the Honda dealership is $3,600. Okay?
Well, I can't argue that.
And
Well,
that's the definition of fucking
mean-
bait and fucking switch.
I mean,
okay?
how much is a new C8 Corvette going for ever booked now? Too?
Well, and this isn't Tom.
I know this
but
is
this isn't
a
an
different-
overbook
this is a different
situation.
Thing at the end.
This is
Oh, yeah.
we're going to advertise it, and they did advertise it at $1,899.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they dropped that in this campaign to $1,805.
Yeah.
Right. Every invoice that I've had a customer bring in to me to look at, it all has that $1,899 number or $1,800-ish number. But then it also has a $600 freight. It has a $1,600 destination or $600 destination. And they do get that price up very quickly with these Honda add-ons that are far higher than any other manufacturer in this price point. So, yes, it's one thing that you go buy your Harley-Davidson Sportster and you know there's going to be a $1,200 destination fee or a $1,200 freight fee. And Harley has been getting away with that for 5 or 6 years.
Well, yeah, you just tack it on to the 72-month anyway.
Because that's how we design our customers these days. But in Honda, we all know that if you went and bought your brand new monkey bike or you went and bought your brand new Trail 125, you do know that line item on your invoice, whether you bought it at Sills or whether you brought it on the edge, there is a $600 destination fee. And it is not a ratio. It is a flat rate. And in the case of this motorcycle, that represents 30% of the value of the motorcycle. And it kind of feels like a stick in the eye. Then we're also talking about the freight fee on this. This bike weighs half as much as any other Honda that you can buy. And it comes in a much, much, much smaller box. But they're charging the exact same amount of freight that they charge you on a 900cc motorcycle. So in this case, it's this motorcycle that is... It gets to wave this flag. We are the cheapest motorcycle in America. And not only are we the cheapest motorcycle in America, we're the cheapest motorcycle in America, DOT legal motorcycle, that has a Honda badge on it. And they wave that flag, and they're going to get free press for that for the rest of their goddamn lit days. But anybody who does their research is going to say, yeah, we know where that bike was built. We know that in its market, it's a $600 bike because that's what it is. And you can buy them there. You could put them in boxes and you could ship them over here if you could get through the customs. Okay? Now, are we Americans and we earn that much more money than the people in India do, and that's why we should pay $1,800 instead of $600? Maybe. That's fine. That's great. What the market will bear goes a long way. It's got a 10-inch tire on the back. It's got a 12-inch tire on the front. It's got a carburetor. It's got a choke. It's arguably 1981 technology, right?
Well,
83-ish.
how about this?
Yeah.
So for $900, maybe $1,000 if you're unlucky and you can't find a deal, you could get the Grim, which has hydraulic front and back disc brakes, 125cc motor, and probably the same metallurgy as this thing.
I've looked at 3 invoices for Navis. Yeah. I've held them in my hands, and I had people report into the podcast because they've had their Navi experiences, and they've sent in email pictures of invoices. We've brought them on the screen before.
Yep.
In almost every case, the out-the-door price of the Navi was higher than a Benelli TNT 135.
Right.
Done. Conversation fucking over. Okay? We've all ridden the Benelli TNT 135. I'm sorry. Are they hard to get?
Wait, how many people here own one? You, me, you.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they hard to get?
No.
Are they being hidden from you?
Nope.
No.
Got a clutch though.
Are they unreliable?
See that?
I don't know. Stop saying that shit. Quit it. Quit it with the whole but it's not an automatic. Fuck you.
Well, I agree. I'm just
because
saying.
I get to see the other. I'm here at the shop every single day, and I get to see both sides of that equation. I'd buy the motherfucker more if they had a real man's gearbox in it. No, it is your choice of grape soda versus cherry soda. They're both sodas. Learn how to fucking shift or stop riding motorcycles. Okay? Because the only people that are still going to make motorcycles, right? The only people who are still going to make motorcycles that you don't know how to shift, right? Okay, we're all been sitting at the table. We all own motorcycles from the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Ironically, he is sitting in front of a line of 0 motorcycles that do not shift.
Right. Totally different application.
Totally different application.
Would you put a 6-speed in a Tesla? With a clutch?
No.
No.
Driving that S is fucking insane.
Because you don't need change gears.
Well, yeah, to be fair.
Okay, now. Who keeps coming back to the well of automatic transmission motorcycles?
Honda.
Yeah. One company. How well has it worked for anybody else who tried?
Not very well.
Aprilia? Whoa.
Oh, no. We don't talk about that. The Mana doesn't exist.
Moto Guzzi?
Wait, they can barely get bikes to run.
But again...
I mean, I love them. Don't get me wrong. I own 2.
But we know they showed up.
Oh, yeah.
They showed up. The Convert was there.
Oh, yeah, the Convert.
They showed up.
All the technology of a Fiat 2-speed.
Exactly. If we look at the people who keep showing up at the well, and if we then look at the customers who keep showing up at the door, and they're like, yeah, but I don't want to learn how to drive a clutch. Well, then you are going to live a life of very few choices. You're going to be stuck riding
an Africa Twin. Oh.
I have a clutch.
No, but again,
I know.
Well, what are your choices?
Honda.
You can have a CTX 700.
An Africa Twin.
Yeah.
DTC.
Yeah.
Or an Africa Twin.
Anything with a DCT.
Or a Goldwing.
Or a Goldwing.
Or a Goldwing.
Yeah.
And
What about-
NC 750.
What kind of hot little maybe 250 or 300 or 400 entry level bike can you get there from Honda with an automatic? I think that would be a Forza. Or maybe a Reflex.
Forza's 400, yeah.
Yeah, but this is like...
Yeah, I don't think they do the... No.
They just say that
Actually,
at that point...
click the button, let's see.
Yeah, they say it at that point, you should be riding, what? A scooter. Okay? So even in their own manufacturing, they're basically saying if you don't want to shift and you're under 700 cc's...
Because you're getting DCT down to 500. I don't think you're getting any lower than that.
What about the Cub? No, that's semi-automatic.
Still
Semi-automatic.
semi-automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
There's
the
the
PCX is the
ADV,
150.
PCX,
the
yeah.
ADV. Oh, they've discontinued all their...
Yeah, no, they don't do that much anymore.
Yeah, they've
Actually-
discontinued all their big scooters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
so,
the ADV is where it's at now. So
Yeah. Okay. So
if they brought the
so they've
750
discontinued their 300 and 400 scooters altogether. They're
Yeah.
just 150s now. 150s and 50s.
They're trying again because you make a valid point. You should
Yeah.
shift if you get bigger, and once you hit the 300 range
Yeah.
with the CBR. Of course,
What, in your opinion, why didn't they bring the X, the 750 scooter over here like they have in Europe?
Phil.
The ADV 750X?
So Phil, how hard is it to sell a $9,000 scooter?
No, but that's, I mean, I mean, it's a badass scooter.
You know, you can get
it is.
You can
Right.
get away with get away with selling $10,000 scooters if they say Vespa on the side.
That's exactly right.
You can't get away with it if it says Honda on the side of it.
I mean, I kind of figured that, but I just wanted to get.
Oh no! That's out the gate. I'll tell you that.
It takes a very, very special nerd to spend $10,000
I'm that nerd. If that
on
thing was here.
a scooter that doesn't say Vespa on it.
Yeah, I get
right?
you. I get you.
It takes a very special nerd. That's a BMW, C650
yeah.
GT guy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's our friend who loves his Kimco AK550,
Yep.
right? That's a very special nerd. That's a very, very minimum number of customers.
I
and you know what
wanna-
Honda knows? It's money,
yeah.
and numbers.
Speaking of, we
And
haven't,
Honda's not going to bring a bike in they're going to sell one of.
Yeah.
we haven't seen Mr. Franklin in a while, but I guarantee you, he's probably still riding right now.
Of course he is. We call him. We have him come in, man. Yeah. That's it. I had no idea the Fury was still in the Honda fucking catalog.
I think they dropped it. And
They
then
did
brought
bring
it
it back. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, no. Apparently, no. It was Dean that was telling me. He said his old bosses down in Atlanta would buy every single used Fury they could
my
buy.
God, really?
Put them in a container and ship them to Russia because the mobsters love them.
Seems like it, right?
Seriously?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. They would ship them
It's
back
a
to
little
Russia.
hard to get support for Harley Davidsons in Russia. I've seen a lot of the white power Russian motorcycle gangs.
Yeah.
They're wearing Harley gear,
Yeah.
but they're not riding Harley bikes.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe like one guy has a Harley, and then everybody else has like a Harley compatible.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's a lot of the
Ne-
Russian motorcycles,
Neppers and Urals
Neepers and
and,
Urals and shit that they're making choppers out
Yeah.
of.
Which is cool to look at.
Yeah.
Wait, boxer motor chopper?
Oh yeah.
That's
There's
awesome.
a lot of it.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what's
If you had a ton of really cheap motorcycles laid around, what would you do? Oh wait, we do it already.
a 1300cc motorcycle?
Oh, yeah.
For the freshly discounted price of $11,449.
I'm not gonna lie, because I used to work at a big dog place.
Yeah.
The Fury rides amazing. It's an amazing
it-
motorcycle
it
for
does.
what it is.
It
but the
does.
problem is, it's just like the BMW R1200C.
You got to look at it.
Yeah.
Eventually, you see yourself in the
eventually
reflection.
you look at it.
Yeah, and you're done. And
The
you're just done.
R1200C, amazing motorcycle, and
Yeah.
then you look at yourself in the mirror and go, "I am not James Bond."
Nope. No, and I don't have an Asian girl straddling me
Nope.
backwards. Not even a little.
Nope.
So, quick question for you, Tom.
Yeah.
You had some dirt that I didn't know about until you told me today about the tires.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in the motor scooter industry,
Since we're bagging on the Navi.
well, this is why we brought it up.
Yeah.
Was in case I was really going to just save this for Meckelfresh because I wanted to stick a fork in him because he's done, right? You're done. You're just fucking done. You're done because what Tom's about to say.
So those of us that have been around since dirt was created, and that being Phil and I.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was a brand called Bajaj.
Bajaj.
And now they exclusively make BMW 300s and KTM's and Husqvarna. I think
Husqvarna's, yep.
Husqvarna. They make motorcycles for other people.
Right.
But once upon a time, they used to make scooters.
They did.
And around the turn of the odd hundreds, they brought the Cheetah and the Legend. And the favorite thing of all of us scooter folk that happened to get our hands on it were the tires on these bikes. And say it with me now, they were the Nilo Grip
The
Zappers.
Nilo Grip Zapper.
It was the most amazing tire because you could either ride on the right side of the tire
Yep.
or the left side of the tire.
Yep.
But you could never ride down the middle of
Nope.
the tire because that ridge that runs right the middle of it
Yep.
was just a knife edge.
Oh, the most deadly tire I had ever experienced.
What was it, Heidenau? Cold Heidenau's.
Yeah, the Nilo Grip Zapper
Nilo
tire.
Grip Zapper tire.
You would take a bike right out of the crate,
Yep.
fresh out of the crate, and you'd pull the thing out of the crate. You put gas in it, charge the battery, and you'd go try to take it for a spin around the block. And you would realize, you'd be like, "Oh my God, they didn't tighten the rear hub bolts.
Yep.
Oh my God, they didn't tighten the front. Split rims are loose or something."
Yep.
And
Yep.
this thing would just be like all over the fucking place. You couldn't make it go straight down the road.
Nope.
And you realize, you get the thing back in the shop. You're like, did I just grossly overinflate the tires? Because you checked the hubs, you checked everything. You're like, no, everything is tight. Everything is perfect. What is going wrong with this fucking bike? And then you kind of looked at the front of the bike and you went, huh, well, isn't that something?
Yep.
The tire is sharp.
They had just it is.
I thought you guys would like this one. All right.
Talk about a flashback.
So there's this. So on the far, the real sketchy looking guy on the left, that's Scott Smallwood.
Yeah.
The guy in the middle is Learco Malaguti, the president and founder of Malaguti Motorcycles. And then the guy over there on the end is some fucking
He's a young looking guy.
Yeah, I know, right?
surfer they let in 20 years ago. So anyway, it was great. So we got invited to go to the factory. It was cool. And then Scott put his head in a really big Uri helmet. So it was
That's
a lot of
not
fun.
a really big helmet. Scott's just
Scott's
really
just a really small
guy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And this was a premonition because remind you at the time I had just quit working at Supersonic and I had just started my own shop. So I just started my own shop and I was formerly working at Supersonic. And Scott was launching his motorcycle racing career pretty heavily.
Yep.
And he did. He became for not being a baby, for not being 14 years old, he became one of our nation's best 250cc club racers, right? And the joke was that by next year it'll fit just fine because Scott went out and won everything.
Oh yeah, no, he lapped. After what was it, Summit Point? He died on the starting line. His bike died.
His bike did not run.
Sam and I were booking it down the main straight. Like we almost got one complete lap in. And then he came screaming past us with this chainsaw that he was running that actually looked like a scooter of some kind. Yep. And then he came around again before we had finished the lap. And I'm like, we're done. We are done.
They cut a lap off our race because he's too fast.
Yep.
There's Scott making fun of Arlen Ness. So I was sitting just to the left of Arlen Ness. I'm out of the frame. I think Brian cropped me out intentionally. But yeah, we got set at Buca di Beppo. We got set family style with Arlen Ness. Pretty kind of a cool experience.
Here we are discussing the Victory V9 2C.
Yeah. Well, actually, what we were doing is I think what we were really discussing was we had a debate about the Honda VF700 Super Magna.
Yep.
Because Arlen Ness did take a little time out from Harley Davidson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then he also went to Victory.
Yep.
And then Victory stabbed him and bought Indian.
Yep. And so we asked him, we said, did you really design? Is the 1987 Honda Super Magna really your design? Because even people who don't know about motorcycles will know that the 1987 Honda Super Magna
Doesn't look like a Honda.
doesn't look like any fucking Honda that's ever been out there. And it has a lot of extra, everything, right?
Yep.
And so if somebody were to tell you that it was all of Arlen Ness's doing to make that motorcycle not look like a 1986 Magna.
No, that looks exactly like the 1980s look like once you have enough cocaine.
And it is absolutely, when you look at the difference between what is a 1986 Magna, and then you look at a 1987 Magna, and Arlen Ness goes, yeah, that was me. And I had to sign a massive non-disclosure and everything else.
I never could get into cocaine. I like the smell of it, but never get into it.
The idea was that you got to remember this was the tariff beater years. This was the year of the tariffs, and for Arlen Ness to leave Harley Davidson to go and design a bike that was faster than a Harley, stronger than a Harley, and somehow magically not as expensive as a Harley, and had 4 cylinders and liquid cooling.
And was also available because this was the late 80s when you couldn't buy a Harley Davidson with an extra 10 grand in your pocket because there was a waiting list a mile and a half long.
He wasn't supposed to ever tell anybody from Harley Davidson that was all of his design. that Honda was using to step all over Honda or Harley Davidson. So Honda did use that. And that was a great picture of us just hanging out. Bullshit.
So reeling this back to the original.
To the Bajaj. So look at the tires on the Bajaj. Please look at the tires on that fucking thing.
Or the glove box. You look at the glove
box too. But so the reason we bring up this particular image is these tires aren't round.
Nope.
They're not.
Nope.
A cross section of the Bajaj, and you'll see that there's a ziggy-zaggy strip down the middle.
Yep.
Well, the ziggy-zaggy strip is problematic because the ziggy-zaggy strip means that your less than 1 diamond size contact patch is now not in the same place ever. And these tires are made out of a substance not akin to rubber.
Yeah.
Due to the Indians' desire to have a tire last 200,000 kilometers.
Oh, yeah. No, these are like, these are double the mileage of a Cheng Shen.
Oh, yeah. I will guarantee you that if I sell you a stock Bajaj with its 9.1 horsepower, that you will not be able to wear out a set of these tires in your life. Ever.
Oh, no. It's like the QMB50. If you ever wear out a rear tire, it's time to throw the bike away.
Time to throw the bike away. Absolutely guaranteed. So these tires, my shop started getting these bikes in. And within about 9 seconds, I had ordered in every Continental Zippy.
Yep.
Continental was a race sponsor for us. So we got Continental tires for almost free. And so I told my Continental rep, I was like, well, our whole race team.
Yeah.
Just me. Our whole race team.
That's not fair. Merritt was racing
Merritt
too.
was racing with us. So yeah. So we had 2 people on our race team. So our whole race team. So
I mean, otherwise Hodge still wouldn't have that dent in his head.
That's true. So we got Continental to send me something like 65 Continental Zippies.
Yeah.
And we had a tire changing party at my shop. And we got real good at hucking tires. So we have this ridiculous pile of Nyla Grip Zappers. And they even smelled weird. Like they just weren't, they were not tires in a lot of different ways. So I had this sidecar rig that I'd put together with a Bajaj. And we had a sidecar and I was like, well, the sidecar doesn't care.
Yeah.
So we put Nyla Grip Zappers on it. And if you got that sidecar up to 35 miles an hour and turned it hard to the left, it could slide sideways like a drift car for 20, 30 feet. Wow. It was super fun. There's a video on Two Stroke Bugs of me doing wheelies in a parking lot, sliding the thing around sideways on dry, hot asphalt. So that's how bad Nyla Grip Zappers were. We generally in the community all decided that they were unsafe at any speed.
Oh, yeah.
And we would only...
I mean, they were fun, don't get me wrong.
And we would only take them to scooter rallies for games like tire. And it was like... These tires existed to be obstacles at scooter rallies.
Yeah. Mm.
And then just put in the back of the trailer and brought back out to be obstacles at scooter rallies. Yeah. But nobody ever fucking tried to drive on one. No. And if they did, I had 15 or 20 Bajajes with body damage down both sides for somebody who tried to ride 1 second after it started raining.
Yep.
Okay? They were undrivable. Eventually, Alcovitis, president of Bajaj USA, said, please, if your motor scooter has the factory original Nyla Grip Zappers on it, we're not going to run a campaign. We're not going to run a recall. We didn't produce enough bikes to do a recall. But I promise you, if you are the registered owner of that, I will buy you. And this is legit.
Oh, yeah.
He straight up said, Chris, if you own this bike and you've got a warranty activated on this bike, we don't care how old it is. I'm going to send you a set of tires.
Smart move.
And it was great. And the problem was a lot of people never changed a tube tire before.
Oh, no.
Decided that was going to be the first time they changed a split rim tube tire.
Nope.
That was weird.
Nope.
And a lot of people came into the shop with their Nyla Grip Zappers in their hand and no evidence that they owned a Bajaj, trying to get their free cool tires, right?
Oh, nice.
So we dealt with it at the time, and it was fun. But the real deal is to see that the Navi
has
Nyla Grip Zappers on it.
Yeah.
Because
I literally, like, my coworker Harris
Yeah.
was changing tires on an Avi because this guy had gotten and he was doing a bunch of work to it and he wanted nicer tires. Yeah. And I looked down and I said, "Is this a tire you just took off?" And he says, "Yeah." This is, "Do you?" And I literally laughed for 15 minutes because I read Nilo Grip Zapper.
Oh my god!
And
How are they allowed to still be? Oh, they're just made in India or
It's
something?
India.
Well, the Nami's made in India. It's an Indian market bike.
Right. Yeah.
And they're not changing. I mean, they have to pass DOT and NITS and everything else and EPA to bring them in. But they're still trying to hit that price point of $1,800 once they hit the dealer, which means they're not going to change a whole lot. Now, I don't know if the technology has improved in 20 years on these.
Right.
You know, it could be it's a different tire, but it's still going to be a high mileage Chingshin Duro kind of thing.
Exactly.
So it's not going to be, you know, a great tire.
Yep.
But to put all of these, you know, as you say, these entry-level riders in on these tires, if they're just as bad as the old Bajaj ones, man, that is just going to be a disaster.
You guys ready?
Uh-oh.
MSRP, Nilo Grip Zapper.
$13.
That's right, buddy.
That's a high quality tire.
That's a high-quality tire right there. And that's Honda spending a little extra to make sure that you have the best quality product.
I'm going to have to go home and debadge my Africa Twin.
But it's that kind of a thing where you just...
Well, this is all a price point that they're trying to get this thing, get entry-level riders in as low as they possibly can with the quality product. And it's still Honda. At the end of the day, it could be... You know, it's like the PCX being out of Thailand.
Right.
They're great bikes. We've got an Uber rider who delivers food. It delivers Uber Eats.
Yeah.
He's got 80,000 miles on a PCX 150.
Oh yeah.
And you can't kill.
No, you can't kill it.
He literally has tried to kill this bike. He's been through like 2 CVT, you know, two variators.
Yeah.
He's been through at least 2 clutches.
The one I rented in St.
They
Thomas.
just keep going.
The one I rented in St. Thomas had well over 70,000 miles on it.
Oh yeah.
And it ran.
Yeah.
And it ran.
And if even half of that technology is in the Navi, you will still be riding that bike in 20 years.
Yeah,
and the tires will probably last just as long.
But then you have to stop and say if half of that technology is in the Navi.
Yeah.
But it won't be because the factory that built the PCX 150 has absolutely no genetic similarity to the factory that built the Navi.
Right.
And that's where we have to understand.
At the end of the day, you know, who's your quality control running out the door?
Right.
So
do we want the quality control of a Indian factory versus the quality control of a Thailand factory versus the quality control of a Taiwan factory?
tell a BMW 310 owner.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go, right? There you go. And that says a lot because QC is everything for what you're riding.
Absolutely.
And simply saying like, oh, well, you know, the PCX 150 is a great Honda product.
It's an amazing bike.
That will probably last forever. And so is almost every other, you know, CBR 300s, Thailand.
Yep.
So they're all Thailand and they're all amazing bikes and they're built super great and they'll probably last forever. But we also have worked on a lot of LMLs. We also have worked on a lot of Bajaj, and we also can tell you that there is a bit of a metallurgy thing.
Yeah.
And metallurgy is a little scary.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get that thing, and there were certain parts on certain Vespas a few years ago that Tom and I knew where to look on the part.
Yeah.
And we could smell the part. We could have this particular part that smelled like curry. And we knew, I mean, look, among scooter mechanics.
Look. Ask a Stella owner how long the crank lasts.
Exactly.
Oh,
I haven't had a really in-depth conversation with Rob Hodge, who at the time was you know, the guy
he was the test
Genuine.
monkey,
And you know, he says, "Oh, well, we didn't get, you know, more than 30% failure rate."
Right.
I said, "Hodge, how many of those bikes lasted long enough to reach failure rate?" And he went, "Not that many.
Not that many. Not
you know,
that
people
many.
just park. You know, but well, how many Stellas have you seen with 200 miles on them?" There you go.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, and that's also a thing.
Yeah.
30% failure rate.
Yeah.
Of bikes that went over 500 miles.
Oh, yeah.
Are you fucking shitting? I have people bringing bikes every single day that are 10 years old that have 400 miles on them. A lot of people who buy scooters don't really put a lot of miles on them.
I have an 81 Cheetah with 42 miles on it. The other one has 2,100 miles on it, and I put 300 on it myself.
And that's very common when people buy those bikes at that low price point that they don't get a lot of use put on them.
So
the metallurgy thing, man, we knew that there's an underground network of people that do this for a living.
Oh, yeah.
And there are no secrets.
Yeah.
You know, we used to have this thing we'd like scooter shop confessions.
Yep.
And we'd get together and be like, hey, so my name's Phil, and I touch scooters for a living. Hi, Phil. Has anyone else noticed that we got these certain bikes, Vespas, and only the yellow ones and only the green ones make a weird squeaky, squeaky, squeaky when you sit on them, even if they're brand new. And then when you try to ride them to the gas station, the squeaky, squeaky, squeaky gets louder and very annoying. Okay. And then, well, they don't always go the right direction that you point them in. What? No, they don't. They just kind of wander a little bit. Huh. It's kind of weird. How long does it take for that to happen? Oh, I don't know, about a mile or two after you get them out of the crate? Well, that's odd. Doesn't happen on the red ones? No. Doesn't happen on the blue ones? No. Just the yellow ones? Yeah. And just the green ones? Yeah. Well, the subframe, the swing arm subframe, because it doesn't just bolt right to the frame.
Yeah.
The motor has a little H-beam thing.
Yep.
And it turns out those H-beam things, beige. And the seals, the bushings that went into them, were made of a grade of plastic that we've been using to hold beer cans together for years. Right? And it wasn't really never meant to be a bushing material. Yeah. They like bronze.
Yeah.
Bronze is expensive.
Yeah.
Or some Zytel nylon.
Right.
Yeah.
Space program shit. Yep. This is made from, you burn it, you smell it, you're like, yeah, that's a milk jug. That's a 100%, that's a gallon milk jug.
Oh, look, it's PET.
Yeah,
Woo!
exactly. And that was what was key. That was the bushings that were installed on this thing.
But why only the green and yellow ones?
Because remember those bikes that were built in Italy?
Yeah.
They must have transported
Parts.
all of the factory to India.
My favorite game used to be walking into a certain Vespa dealership.
Yeah.
And turning all of the wheels so you could see the Made in China stamp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And because
I'm that kind of jerk.
there was a real period of time
Oh, yeah.
when Vespa was hunting for the best deal.
Oh yeah.
And-
well, Americans are cheap.
Yeah.
We are in our DNA. We are the cheapest people
We
who
are.
will ever possibly come across. I'm sure I haven't traveled to enough countries where I'll
Right.
find somebody cheaper than Americans. But we are cheap. Look at Walmart.
Right.
Walmart literally exists because we're cheap.
Right.
You know, dollar stores are our pastime. So Vespa comes out, and they're like, all right, you know, we're going to build this amazing motor scooter in Italy. Well, at the time, it was Eastern Europe, I think, was where our first ones came from. But there's still, it's a high quality, high metallurgy, high everything else.
Yeah.
This is the ones that had the Serbian tires on them,
Yep.
brand new and everything else.
Absolutely.
All Eastern European, not a big deal.
Right.
And then as it went along, it went to Taiwan,
Yep.
because if you look at the stampings on the inside
Right.
of the engines, they all say TGB,
TGB.
Taiwan Golden Bee.
Right. Inside a Vespa motor.
Inside a Vespa motor, because that's Vespa Taiwan, basically.
Right. It is.
And you still have a TGB
Of course.
150 in the back corner back there. I mean, they're still good bikes.
Really good bikes. In
Right.
fact, they used to be called terribly good bikes in
Yeah,
Britain.
terribly good bikes.
Right.
And then now you
yeah.
look at them, and this is, I'm sitting here in a Vespa dealer
Right. Exactly.
talking
This
about
is how we
bikes,
do.
and they've brought their quality level down to the point
Yeah.
where you were telling me last night about
Yeah.
the brakes.
Right. Right. Optional
And
front brakes.
Optional front
Right.
brakes.
Yeah. So
Now they fixed it.
Yep.
But they have to fix it.
in that period of time, we could not tell one crate to the next where the components on the bike came from. Also, I had my doubts as to where the bike was assembled.
Yeah.
And we had this issue because there was a period of time for sure when there was a lot of experimentation going on with vendors. And in that particular era, prior to the fuel injection, these bikes had many fathers. And sometimes you turn a bike on and you'd be like, ooh, there's an assist pump on the carburetor.
Oh yeah, those weird LXs that have that are carbureted but have the fuel injection pump up underneath the side.
So we had these fuel pump supported carbureted bikes. At the same time, we'd open up the next crate and there'd just be a regular old carburetor.
And literally, you can take the fuel pump off, put a standard fuel valve on the bike,
Yep.
and it'll run just like a normal bike. Does not change
It's
anything.
a fuel pump that does nothing.
So it could run better up a hill.
No. No,
Not even
there
that.
is no change in this bike whatsoever
No.
from whichever way you run it.
Right.
But it just so happens to have an additional $150 fuel pump on the side.
and you literally turn the key on and you hear this.
Oh, yeah.
And you turn the key and you hear that.
Yeah.
And you're like, son of a bitch, fuel injected.
Yeah.
And you look and you're like, nope,
Nope,
not
that's
fuel
carburetor.
injected. It's still a carburetor. Now,
it-
to make things different, it is a different carburetor,
Yeah.
which is more unobtainium than the current carburetor,
Yeah.
which is just
Slightly.
real unobtainium.
Yeah.
Right. So the ones with the fuel pump are totally unobtainium.
Yeah.
So it is a very strange thing when you look at this industry as a whole and you're looking at all the stuff and you're like,
well-
where did carburetors, Harley Davidson, where did they get their carburetors? Because you know those are nice, good American. No, fucking Keans, baby.
Yeah.
They stole it off the
Oh, yeah.
side of a KLR 650.
And took
Right.
took the choke off of it, which
Yes.
I still found funny. It was like, why would you not put this on an air cooled bike that takes 37 minutes to warm up in the first place?
Exactly.
You have made a cheap carburetor cheaper.
And you had a choke.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Because your Sportster would have warmed up in less than an hour.
Yeah.
Because you could have been like, oh, check it out. Choke. And
Well, it's
now
not-
I can drive away.
It's not even that. I've used that exact carburetor on Japanese motorcycles.
you have.
That have the good old fashioned electric bike starter on the side
Yep.
of it, just like
Yep.
a 85 Honda Elite.
Of course.
And Harley was like, no, we're not going to use that.
We're not gonna use
That's
that.
too advanced for us.
No. Cable.
Yeah.
Put a cable on it. There was that thing about like when you start looking at parts bins and where the bikes come out of what parts bins.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's just great. I mean, and you can get joyful about it.
My favorite, I'm going to say my favorite one of all time
Yeah.
is the first Chinese built Piaggio Fly 150. Because you had the original Fly 150 that we got was an amazing bike.
Right.
It was great. All the plastic was hard. You could hit the thing with a hammer.
Yeah. It could
would
fall over
bounce
the
right off
parking
it.
lot,
Did
bounce
not
right up.
matter.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
long as you had that little red flashy light in the middle of the dashboard, you knew where it was.
Yep.
And then the next year, Chinese built Fly 150.
Yep,
The only way you could
exactly.
tell them is that light's not there anymore.
Yep. Little flashy security light is
And
gone.
if you literally try to take one panel off of it,
They
it breaks
all
all
shatter.
it breaks all the panels.
And I felt terrible because, some people who don't know bikes any better, I heard another podcast saying something about like, Vespa's a premier product and it's a great product and it's all really super cool. But what they don't know is they have a deep, dark secret. And that is all Piaggios are garbage.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to jump through my radio and choke them.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no, we sell Piaggio Liberties
Oh, yeah.
in here that you cannot fucking kill. And the original generation of flies,
Yeah.
they were made out of baby doll heads. You couldn't hurt them, right?
I still have LT 150s running around New Orleans.
They were just
like the original
insanely,
2001s.
insanely high quality bikes. But they made one experiment with China.
Yep.
And as a result of that experiment with China, oh God, they were deplorable.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep.
And you can compromise your entire reputation by building one's bike, one machine,
Yeah.
and producing it and throwing it out there
Yeah.
and saying, here it is. Remember us? The bike you bought last year, it was great. It was awesome. And this one's the exact same price. And we had a little, hey, you don't have to worry about that stupid immobilizer system anymore.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's not going to kill your battery.
And now all of a sudden we had a bike that you could never keep running right.
Right.
A bike that wouldn't run right. A bike that just failed constantly.
Yep.
And Piaggio, after a few years, they just got the fuck out of China.
Yeah.
And they got the fuck away from China, and they
Yep.
desperately needed to.
Yep.
Because they had lost their kind of 100% dead reliable.
Those GT250s, the first Chinese GT250s, man, they just fuel pump. Well, that was the whole fuel pump thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
that was
every fuel
the
pump
first GTS, the first rack of GTS 250s
Yep.
where the fuel pumps all magically failed.
Yep.
100% failure rate. So we think as mechanics who work on
Yeah.
bikes, it's very strange that you're like, oh, when someone says, I've never heard that problem before.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's hilarious
Yeah.
when somebody's like, well, yeah, I've never had that problem before. And you go, that's because the engineers figured that shit out.
Oh, yeah.
They had it nailed.
Yeah.
They absolutely had it nailed. The Honda, one of my favorite motorcycles ever, was the Honda 700cc Nighthawk. And slightly the Honda 650 SC Nighthawk. Shaft drive.
Yep.
Hydraulically adjusted valves,
Yep.
triple disc brakes,
Yep.
and very pleasant at the dealership, came with black with blue trim or black with red trim. Shut the fuck up, you get two choices, right? Now, okay, it had the styling of the day.
Yeah.
it was the very logical progression and extension of the 750 motor. Liza and I were chatting about this in the car. However, I don't love it so much because it was so fast. I don't, hey, come on, man. There were a lot of bikes. GPZ 550 was faster than it was the same era, right? But that motorcycle, that particular beautiful little tariff beater, right? The one thing about it that I loved so much was it had all the shit at one time.
Yeah.
It had all the things to make that motorcycle extremely high quality.
Yeah.
Right? The 700 SC. And then, do you know what Honda followed it with?
Yeah.
The Nighthawk.
Yep.
Not the Nighthawk SC. The Nighthawk.
Well, let's say it the right way. The CB 750 dual overhead cam continuation of the 79 model.
Yeah.
So they took all the technology and went, no, we don't need that anymore.
And that's really what killed me about it was it's such an insult. It really is an insult to where they were.
But look at it.
I see it.
Look at the simplicity of it.
I look at it all the time.
Look at everything about that bike. Now, if you found yourself in the middle of, say, Nevada, and you decided you need to ride all the way back to Ohio, and you found one for $400 on Craigslist because you know you will, tell me that wouldn't be the easiest ride home.
I fucking despise them. I fucking despise them. I don't like them. I don't like anything about them.
That's just because you like that one.
It's because Honda was here.
Yeah.
They were here.
But that's what Honda...
And then they went to here.
But that's what Honda does.
Oh, my God.
That's what... This is the Navi of its day.
Yeah.
That's the best way to say it.
Absolutely give you that.
That's the best way to say it because they went from using modern technology back to using the technology of the late 70s.
Yeah.
And that's what that bike is. That literally is a 1978 Honda dual overhead cam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And... you look at everything else at the exact same time, but this is also when they started moving away from standards, though. You can't buy a bike in this particular era with an open headlight and open handlebars because everybody wanted to be Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is lime green and white.
Yep.
This is that era of everything got to be plastic.
I mean, that...
What about that? What was the blue and silver the Nighthawk 750, like the blue, the red, because you had me thinking it was that one you were talking about. It was like blue and chrome, I think.
Blue and chrome. Oh yeah, that's the 650 SC.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 650 SC I actually thought was much prettier.
Yeah.
So the 650 SC is a prettier bike. So we'll keep in mind what did they say that was the. Yeah, I wanted to find the MSRP on that son-of-a-bitch, but I've only been able to successfully find MS. It kind of looks like they were saying $35.91. I don't know if I buy that, but anyway, it doesn't matter because the earlier bike was a much better bike, better bike. Now, but the reason, and I will hunt up a picture of a Honda CD 650 just for you.
Did it come in red and chrome too? Right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. And it came in.
Yeah, they were a lot more simpler than the 750.
Right.
700.
Yeah. So that's not a bad looking bike.
It's a very good looking bike. The 82. Yeah, the 82 SC is a very good looking bike, and to be followed up by the 83 Nighthawk. 700 SC is a very good looking bike as well. And if you like chrome, you can still have the CB650 SC. You don't have to have the bike with all the blacky shit on it, right? Nothing wrong with it, right? You came in cherry red, the 4x4 pipes. A lot of people thought the 4x4 pipes were pretty, kind of pretty. Had a cool looking seat on it. These bikes did earn their place. Again, this was chain drive, right? This was chain drive.
They lost
this is before that. It's 1 year before. Because what this motorcycle did was it kind of set the table. And then the Honda engineering department went, guys, this tariff thing's really sucking. So we got to do something about it. What can we do to just really, really stick it to them? And this motorcycle was a tariff beater. everything from the odd-sized wheels, the alloys, which are still dead sexy to this day, triple slotted rotors. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. This motorcycle has a lot going on. I mean, a hell of a lot going on. It was competing, with the GPZs, right? So it was up against the GPZs of the day. So there was a hell of a rivalry going on.
I remember that. Was that the red?
The red, white, and blue, yeah.
Yeah, it was some edition.
So I'm going to tell you that the crime isn't what the later Nighthawks was on its own.
Yeah.
The crime was that they went ahead and built the better one before.
Yeah.
And that as consumers, we let that watering down happen. And we should have just demanded. We should have demanded Honda, said, look, man, we want that one.
But that's the thing, is nobody wanted these.
Yeah.
That was the thing, is between 1983 and 1998, nobody wanted a standard.
Taking away the shaft drive.
Nobody wanted a standard.
Taking away the drip, taking away the disc brakes. Taking away the shaft drive.
Everybody
that didn't
wanted
solve the
sport
problem.
bikes. No.
Didn't solve the problem.
Well, no, it did.
No, you're right. In the late 80s, I would not ride a bike without plastic.
Exactly. Exactly. Nobody wanted this bike
Right.
between like 85 and 98.
Yeah. Yeah.
And until you got, and you're going to laugh at this, but until we saw Triumph coming back into the market, building a standard motorcycle, and that was the Thunderbird in 96.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted a standard. And then suddenly Triumph comes back, builds a Triumph,
And standards are cool again.
and everybody goes, oh,
Remember
we don't
those?
have to have all this plastic crap all over our bikes anymore.
Yeah.
And that was the crazy part too, is because the 80s, you saw that thing where it was like standards. Everything must be wrapped.
Yes.
The muffler, wrap it in plastic.
Yep.
Headers, gone.
Yep.
You can't see
Yep.
them.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep.
My Honda Hurricane, 87.
Yep.
It was fucking a Tupperware box with fucking wheels.
No,
sticking out of
there
it.
was, from no angle could you see anything that got hot.
No, no
There
metal.
wasn't.
Nothing.
You could stand anywhere around the motorcycle and be like, okay, I dare you to find any part of that motorcycle that gets hot. And like the Cub EZ, the joke is like the Cub EZ is totally encapsulated with plastic,
Right.
so that small children can't burn themselves.
Phil,
Yeah.
change your rear tire on a Honda Pacific Coast.
Been there, done it. Fuck the tire. I'll give you an hour.
Yeah.
Just change the battery
Yep.
in a Pacific Coast.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'll give you an hour. And here's what. At the 30-minute point, if you think you're fucked and you can't do it, at the 30-minute point, I will let you raise your hand and I'll throw the owner's manual. Okay? And you still won't complete the mission on
Nope.
time. Right. Because I'll say that is one of those things. That is one of those Honda design engineering spirits. Yeah.
That is totally where
Right.
everything, well, you're right. Everything was wrapped in plastic from like 1985 on.
Yeah, it was a layer cake of plastic.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It was that whole idea. And just like with these Zeros, somebody said, a customer came in the other day and he's like, so, I want you to put the windshield on for me, the touring windshield. And I said, okay, I'm going to charge you an hour of labor. And he goes, an hour of labor to just put on a windshield? And I said, okay. All right, Uncle Fester. Look at that fucking motorcycle and find me one screw.
Right. There's no fastening where they usually have.
Find me a fastener. And if you can find me a fastener that would give you some inclination as to how to change the windshield, I'll be more than willing to listen to you put on a tutorial about how you can change that windshield in less than an hour. And you know what? It's a motherfucker. Yeah, but those aren't the ones you need.
Those aren't the ones you need.
No, you need to be behind the speedometer.
Oh,
so I'll
good.
give you a clue. The Speedo's got to come out.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
So the Speedo has to come out. So, but that's that thing is like when you want something to be smooth and slippery and make no noise when it goes through the air, service bill's going to go way the fuck up. And that is absolutely true. From one technician to another technician, people that argue about like, well, I just don't see how it's possible that it could cost that much. We didn't either.
Oh, no.
Until we saw what they were paying for the warranty work. That's it. And when somebody says, standard shop rate, change the back tire on a Moto Guzzi California 1400 is 2 hours.
Yeah.
We looked.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even have the bike yet.
Yeah.
And we looked at that and we're like, oh, what the fuck did they do? Change the rear final drive fluid in the Moto Guzzi 1400 series of motorcycles. Change the final drive fluid in the back end. That's, seems like that shouldn't take long, should it? Okay. Then we'll put one here, and then I'll let you find the drain plug. And then after you look for the drain plug for about an hour and a half of the 2 hours they gave you, then we'll tell you that you have to take the back wheel off.
Yep.
So you'd better change the final drive oil every time you change a back tire.
Oh yeah, that's every time I pull a rear tire off of Vespa GT.
It's the only time you can do it. So when people say silly things like, "Oh, while it's in for its annual basic service thing, I want you to make sure to change the rear final drive oil," and I'm like, "Do you want me to take your muffler,
and all
your header, your swing arm support,
Yep.
your whole back tire and wheel assembly and shock absorber? You want me to take all that off to change 109 cc's of fluid that is under no heat and no pressure?"
Right.
80, 90 high point will last forever.
80, 90 high point will, in fact, last forever in a no heat, no pressure situation. Right. So you'd like me to do that? Because
oh, yeah, no, we'll do it. Let's go. Rock and roll. Let's get
2 hours on the invoice, baby. Let's do it. Let's do it. Put on the Leonard Skinnerd. Yeah. This is America. Or if you want me to do it, we're going to do it. But that's when you look at manufacturing processes of these vehicles and how they fucking figure out a weird way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So they didn't have to put a valve on the outside. It's bonkers.
I mean, it's kind of silly because the old one, bolt here,
I know.
there.
That was great. How much oil do I put in?
Until it dribbles back out. fill until it's full.
I hate when they do that.
How much oil goes in the final drive? I don't know. I really don't know.
Now, on the other hand, if it's a BMW GS, you don't do it that way because if you do it that way, it fails.
Yeah, and you lose the seal. You lose the seal. But it is a very funny thing in the world of motorcycles where we had a system that was very simple and it worked very well and it was great, and then we sort of we detuned it.
Yeah.
And they did. And there's a lot of evidences in the world of motorcycles where we had something that was here.
Yeah.
Well, and we've improved it down to here.
Don't you think that's probably the bean counter saying like,
we know it. Do that again. We know it. And the joke is that you raised the price of the motorcycle $300.
Well,
but you took away $1,100 worth of awesomeness.
Right.
For the new model. And it's painful, man.
Look at the Triumph T100.
Yeah. That's a great example.
Up until the fuel injection, the T100 was a great bike, and now the T120 is garbage.
Right.
And I will come right out and say that the T120, brand new T120, is a garbage motorcycle.
Oh. When you
we
ride
were talking about Royal Enfield.
Yeah, when you
Royal
ride
Enfields
it, you
were
can feel
garbage, and now they're great.
Right. Yeah.
And the sad truth is, I'd rather buy the new Royal Enfield than a new Triumph. I love my Triumph.
Which Enfield, though?
That's the trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you get into
the new 500s are nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
is that the Continental or is that
which one is it again?
Well, so all that whole family, whether it's an Interceptor side of the family or Constellation side of the family or whatever. So all of the multi-cylinder. So this is my thing. The multi-cylinder Royal Enfields are exceptional.
Oh yeah.
They're just exceptional.
Since we were bagging on India a minute ago, but at the same rate, Royal Enfield, I mean, they might be building the motors in Taiwan for all I know.
Who knows? Yeah.
But the new Royal Enfields are really, really nice.
Yes, they are.
And the new T120 Bonnevilles are.
They've cut.
I've gone on 3 transmissions now because they all fail at the little clicky clack on the shifter.
Right.
And if you don't get it right, I replaced the same one twice because they sent me a defective one from the parts guy from Triumph.
Man, that sucks.
And
this is all so they can cut every single corner they can possibly cut out of this. Now I think the new ones are the new ones water cooled or not? I can't remember.
It's
because I know they changed it.
Yeah, it's the supplemental oil cooling. So the supplemental oil cooling is where they've kind of drawn the line in the sand right now. But when we're down here talking to our friends at the Triumph dealership, and I was behind there the other day. And I was like, service department's got a lot of Bonnies back there. Like, I mean, a whole lot of, and of course, me being me, I'm like, good. You guys, they're like the number one dealer in their district by far. They're killing it down there. They are killing it. And I was like, wow, there's a lot of 120s back there because that's their bread and butter right now. Don't buy anything but the 120. Buy the 120. They are marketing the 120 so fucking hard in any of its iterations. And I was like, wow, I got the feeling like maybe the 120 is their profit point. Like maybe that's their their profit leader right there.
Yeah.
Because you know that where they're having them built, it's all about reduce the number of processes.
Yep.
So you reduce the number of processes, you make a lot more money. And he's like, yeah, he goes, well, we've got a few issues that we're trying to sort out with the 120.
Like the wiring harness where it crosses the front of the frame.
Exactly. Yep.
The transmission where it likes to slip out of second gear.
Right. Well, but again, and all of these are recall items, right? So they're all recall items. And so that's why you go behind the shop and there's a ton of them back there.
Yeah.
And now, believe me, I know Triumph is going to make good on it.
Oh yeah, no. As a company, they do fine, but this was a bad step.
And this particular design, you start looking at it real close, and that's where you see, like, we've got those fake covers that aren't exhausts.
The exhaust kills me.
Right? And so the exhaust system that we pointed out, we had one in here, we showed everybody in here, where we all got to sit on the motorcycle.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, you see the header? That's not the header.
Yep.
Right? It's not the header. So much of the motorcycle was designed and built to be a very efficient and very cheap manufacturing process. And you don't need to build chrome exhausts if you can just build little tiny light chrome covers.
You still got to go into the catalyzer, which is under the engine,
middle of the bike,
which is fine. I mean, you have to do that no matter what now because that's the way you do it.
What it is.
But rather than building it into the pipe like everybody else does.
Everyone else does. Yeah. Yeah, they're building it as a separate standalone item.
Yeah.
It's a very, very interesting thing. And again, modern motorcycling manufacturing.
Yeah.
And when we see that point, we're like, okay, the T100.
Oh, it was a great bike.
Absolutely bulletproof motorcycle.
No. Don't say that out loud.
Okay.
to a guy who constantly has to change coils and pickups.
Okay. All right.
But I can take one and make it run.
Right.
I know exactly what parts I have to change. I know what spares I have to keep.
Yep.
I love like I said, I love my Thruxton. It's a great motorcycle. It does
is.
everything well
Yeah.
that I need it to. Now, it doesn't carry you $120 worth of groceries, but...
Yeah. And getting into that $13,000 price point, though, you know, when you're in a $13,000 machine, then you're starting to say, oh, okay, well, God damn it. You know, when Enfield comes along at half the money for a 650.
And then you can buy, what is it, the W800 now, too?
Wow,
that's
forever.
Yeah,
right? W800.
I would like, at some point, I'd like to be brave enough to buy one of those.
I heard I heard they're dogs, man.
I'm sure they're dogs.
Yeah, well.
I'm sure they're dogs. But it is more authentic.
Yeah.
And more part of its actual DNA chain than the Triumph is.
Yeah, right.
So the W800 is more of its original intention back to the source material.
I mean, it's a beautiful bike.
Than
the Cafe
the Triumph
version's
is
even nicer.
And again, everybody who's at, you know, in the motorcycle world, we all do what? I bought it, so it has to be good.
Oh, yeah.
So I will defend its honor because I made the purchase, and don't you dare show me how I made a bad purchase. That happens every day. I'm guilty of it myself.
Nope.
No, you're pretty good at telling the fucking truth on
I'm
your
like
shit.
fucking FZ09.
Get this thing out of my life.
Get out of here.
I don't know. There's 200 motorcycle magazine articles that say it's the greatest thing in the world.
Nope.
Get this thing out of my fucking garage.
I rode my 599 exactly 4 times.
Yeah.
And went, nope. And it now lives with one of my old coworkers up in Chicago. He loves it.
He loves it.
He loves it.
Yeah.
He's
Sometimes
the
a
greatest
bike
he owns.
tells you it does not want to be yours.
I rode it
man.
4 or 5 times. I did a day trip to Panama City, picked it up. It'd been sitting with water in a gas tank for 10 years. I got a new tank, new pump, got the carbs cleaned out, everything straightened out. Rode it. It was a beautiful bike. I never got it out of second gear. I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
And he's a younger kid. Loved, went through, finished the last couple things that he wanted to finish his way. And he's had it for 10 years now. He loves it.
Everybody's different, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else bring a fun story?
I mean, I just traded my KLR 650 for a R1150 GS, so I really can't say a whole lot because the KLR just sat.
Yeah.
I would ride it, and then I would go, okay, this was fun, but I've got my Thruxton over here for around town.
Yeah.
And then my coworker wanted a KLR again because we horse trade all the time.
Well, that's the fun thing, just trying different things. Sometimes it's just nice to have something new.
And I have wanted a GS for a long time. I wanted this particular GS for a while, and then it went up for sale.
What color?
It's black.
Okay.
I'm going to put the Bumblebee stripes on it eventually, but
is it got the inquisitive eyes or the square lips?
It's the Inquisitor. It's the Rockster look.
Okay, cool.
So it's a later one. But I've wanted one of these for a while, and I'm one of the only people stupid enough to change an ABS pump on a BMW.
You are. Yes. Never gonna do that again. Done. Never gonna do that again.
I do it as a hobby at this
Jesus Christ. Glutton for punishment. Fucking I don't have fingers small enough.
Yep.
Anybody else bring a story?
No. I have. This is. I don't know if this is a joke or if this is true.
Okay.
But either way, it's kind of cool. So if you have a younger daughter, this is a story for you.
Oh my God. Oh shit.
No. This is cool.
Are we clear for this?
No. You can. So all right. So my buddy told me this. He said it was him, but I think it's just a story. But it's kind of funny.
Okay.
He said that he was driving. He was getting pulled over, and he said he was doing probably about 14 over. He figured, and the cop was behind him, and his 9-year-old daughter was in the back seat. And so as the cop was walking toward the car, she said, "Dad, roll down the windows." He was like, "Why?" She goes, "Just do it." So he rolls down the windows. As the cop was walking up to the car, she goes, "It's coming out! Hurry, it's coming out!" And her dad's like, "What?" And the cop walks up. He's like, "What's going on?" She's like, "There's poo coming out of my butt. Quick, get me home, Dad." And the cop was like, "Oh my God, just take Miss Poopy Hands and get home." So as they were driving away, he was like, "Do you really have to go?" She was like, "No, but did you get a ticket?" He was like, "No." He goes, "See, I learned something."
That is amazingly prescient.
Yeah.
Like,
and so she said, according to him, she learned it on TikTok. It was a TikTok thing.
Oh,
damn, that's brilliant.
Kids these days and the Chinese government.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, because what cop's going to be like, "Go ahead and shit your pants"?
No, especially a
young girl.
A kid in the back seat.
Right.
Oh, and every cop in the world is like, "Better you than me, pal. Good luck."
Yeah.
And just no.
Yeah.
I had a state trooper tell me a technique. If I said it, let me know. A state trooper years ago, when I was just a young police officer, he told me the technique. He said, the way to make sure that when you pass a cop in that awkward situation when you're on the freeway and he's sitting in the middle and you go past him after you came over that hill and you realized, yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Right? 10, 15, 20 over, right? He said, go ahead. Stick your finger up your nose. Good. Right to the second knuckle if you can. And just give the most obvious cranking motion that you're just digging for gold. Rearranging the nose furniture, as they say, right? Just minding your own business, just going for it. Not going to pull you over.
Really?
Doesn't want any part of what's been in your nose. Knows that you're going to hand him your license with that same finger.
Yep.
Right? And he just figures, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be anywhere near you at all. And if you're going to drive down the road digging for that fucking, that you know it's probably on the steering wheel and the door of the hand, like the whole deal. So if you can suffer a little bit of indignity from a fucking trooper you've never met before in your life and hope you never do, go for it. Just go for it. Now, I've been trying this for the past couple, 3 years, driving trucks all over the place with, bikes in the back and maybe in a little bit of a hurry.
He got was a nose infection and
I've done that. Look, man, and I do it now. Even though I got Waze, it tells me where the cops are or whatever. But I've done it, and I don't. And I'm going to tell you, I have absolutely no evidence that it works.
you have no evidence.
But I also have no evidence that it doesn't work.
Right.
Because I have not been pulled over. And I have gone past cops in the middle at in excess of 80 miles an hour. Just cranking it. Just trying to wind.
He's cranking it.
Breathing easier too.
Trying to screw start my brain. Right? And and if you can do that, I don't even try the pantomime, like look over the last minute and go, ooh, I was surprised you were sitting there and you caught me picking my nose, right? No, he's right. I got it from a trooper. I kind of agree. I used to be a police officer. I never had anybody pull that shit on me. But if I went up to anybody and they were like obviously disgusting and sick, I would always turn that from a traffic stop scenario into a verbal warning scenario. Like I didn't have to get too close. But the little girl about to, make brown in her trousers. That's pretty fucking cool.
I mean, and the thing is there's nothing illegal about it. So it's not like you're bribing anybody. It's not anything, you know?
No, I actually think it's genius.
And the worst case scenario, if he says, fine, shit your pants, and then she's like, well, I don't have to now. Hey, you scared it back in, dude. See you later.
I do absolutely agree. I think that's brilliant. That's a nice, and you know what? We're going to call that in a pinch.
But
Anybody got anything else?
No.
Okay, right fast. What?
Oh, hate mail?
No, I didn't do it. We didn't. I didn't.
No hate mail this year?
I didn't farm for any hate
No,
mail.
next week we're gonna get it when they have to listen to 2 hours and 30 minutes of this shit.
That's true.
It's kind of our average these days. Oh man,
no.
the more the merrier. All right, ride fast, take chances, friends.
No, John.
No, John.
Oh,
sorry, no John. You know what? You know what?
I'll just do the beat.
10 seconds of silence for John's butthole.
That poor bastard. Well, let's just hope he gets a clean. Everybody,
A clean bill of health.
clean bill of health for
Clean
Johnny
bill of
Mac.
health.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the one you got to mail in. I'm going to poop in a jar.
I got that yesterday. I mean,
you did?
I got to send it in, but I got it too.
Oh, you did? Good
Yeah,
deal.
I'm gonna do that too. I don't
We'll do
like.
that.
I don't like fingers.
I'm just going to poop in a jar. I'm 53 years old. I'll poop in a jar. We'll mail it in. We'll see what happens.
That's
Merritt
what
just
I'm
got her
doing, too.
results back, so she's good.
Good,
Merritt's
good.
clean.
Good to hear.
All right, guys. Ride fast and take chances. Press the red button.